and a very good evening to you wherever and however you're listening to Talk Sport. Just 4 days on from a sun-drenched first leg at Bramall Lane, Nottingham Forest try once again to convert a good position in a playoff semi-final into a final appearance. This is the Reds' 5th attempt to get to the Wembley showpiece, and Sheffield United were one of the 4 previous teams who denied them the trip down the M1 in the past. That was 19 years ago when the Blades won in extra time up in South Yorkshire. But the visiting fans here tonight can spin their own yarns about failure in the post-season jamboree. 8 playoff campaigns, none of which have been converted into a promotion. Indeed, having reached 4 finals, Sheffield United have never scored on the big day. Around us the scarves go up and the voices go up as well. Massive noise on a massive night on Talk Sport in the EFL playoffs. A reminder of the team news: unchanged Nottingham Forest from Saturday's win. 2 changes for Sheffield United, both at wing-back George Baldock and Rhys Norrington-Davis are brought in. I'll run you through the lineups in just a minute, but we're ready for the off. Our referee tonight is Michael Oliver. It's his first EFL match of the season, fresh from sending 2 Everton players off on Sunday in the match against Brentford. 11 red cards in all this season. Nottingham Forest, in their traditional red shirts and socks with the white shorts, will be attacking the Bridgeford end to our right in the first half as we sit right at the back of the old Peter Taylor main stand. Sheffield United in their change strip tonight of all black. They'll be heading for the Trent end to our left in this first period. All players take the knee on the instruction of Michael Oliver. Are you ready? Because we're off. Anything could happen in the next 90 minutes plus here on Talk Sport in the EFL playoffs. A reminder, it's 2-1 to Forest from the first leg. No away goals double rule in the playoffs. That was abolished back in 2000. Never mind the Champions League abolishing it this year. And Sheffield United have an early throw over on the far side, the Brian Clough stand side of the field, looking to find George Baldock on his return to the starting lineup. And he wins another throw, which is going to leave in actual fact for Chris Basham, one of the 3 centre halves. I hope you can hear me at home, and I hope Adrian Clark sat alongside me can hear me as well.
Just about, Dan. It is really noisy, incredible atmosphere here at the City Ground tonight. The whole city of Nottingham are up for this big time. But can their team deliver? Because this isn't going to be an easy challenge for them. Sheffield United are a side packed with experience. They've got some good technicians, Norwood and Fleck. It wasn't that long ago they were shining at the highest level. So this is going to be a tough examination, but this Forest team have real momentum.
A minute gone on Talk Sport, 0-0, so still 2-1 on aggregate to Nottingham Forest, and they're underway at St Mary's as well. Don't forget, Ian Abrahams is down there for Talk Sport. Regular updates on Southampton against Liverpool in that crucial game in Liverpool's attempt to snatch the title from Manchester City. That's 0-0 at the moment. We'll be off as and when to check in with Ian Abrahams, but Sheffield United have a throw here at 0-0 on the far side of the field, midway point of the Forest half. Dispossessed though, Surridge tries to work it out to Brennan Johnson, but the former Forest defender Jack Robinson got a foot in, and you can tell he's in possession because he's getting the boos of the locals. Clipped down the right hand side by Chris Basham for Sheffield United, trying to get Gibbs White away, but he's got too much on that. Bounces once and behind into the fans at the Trent end for a Forest goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, I think the message from Paul Heckingbottom was we stay in the game, and early on we're seeing signs of that over a few throw-ins on that far side. They took their time, Sheffield United, in no hurry.
Sander Berger finds Rhys Norrington-Davis at the left-hand corner of the area, but he couldn't get the ball under his spell, the left-hand-sided Welshman for Sheffield United, and so Jed Spence, who's been so impressive on loan from Middlesbrough, tries to nick the ball down the right-hand side for Forest, but it goes straight out of play, just down beneath us, in between the 2 technical areas. And the ball bounces into the centre circle where Basham gets possession back for the Blades of Sheffield United. Looking for Gibbs White down the right-hand side, but Scott McKenna, one of the 3 centre-halves for Forest, gets the better of him, and then James Garner's fouled by Berger, and Forest get a free kick midway point of their own half. 0-0. Here's Adrian Clark alongside me tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be such a fascinating battle. Sheffield United will look to monopolise as much of the ball as they can, but Nottingham Forest are equally capable of playing through the third. They're not just a counter-attacking side. There is a slight difference in styles, but I'd say pretty equal in terms of quality.
Well, the setups are very similar, of course, in terms of formation. Yep. 3 centre-halves, 2 players up front,
yep,
and a player in behind that front two, in Zinkernagel for Forest and Berger for Sheffield United. And Berger hooks the ball over his head, trying to get the ball up to halfway for Sheffield United. It's nodded down by Iliman Ndiaye, but Forest win it back, and Joe Worrell, the skipper and academy graduate, tries to find Spence down the right-hand side, but it's out of play, and wouldn't you just know it, Jack Robinson's about to send the throw back into play.
Oh yeah, he's not too popular, is he, young Jack? But he did fuel the fire, fuel it by sort of criticising Nottingham Forest for over-celebrating Brennan Johnson's second goal, so he kind of deserves this reception. Joe Worrell, you mentioned there, he's another one that is destined, I think, for the Premier League stage, and he'll want to get there with Nottingham Forest desperately. So these are 1, maybe 2 huge games for him as well.
4 minutes gone on TalkSport in this playoff semi-final second leg. Sheffield United a goal down on aggregate, but in possession with Ndiaye. Finds Robinson, has pulled the ball back from the dead ball line. Forest get players in the way, but Ndiaye's won it back down this near side of the Sheffield United left. Feeds it back to Norrington Davis, making his first start for over a month tonight for the Blades. Now the diminutive John Fleckwood's a throw-in right by the corner flag for Sheffield United at the Trent end. 0-0.
Good start from Sheffield United, nice and composed. They're looking to clip balls over the top of those 3 centre-halves, and what they have in Ndiaye is such a willing runner. He's really industrious, slippery to mark. His job tonight will be to drag those 3 centre-halves into places they don't want to go.
Jack Robinson preparing a long throw at the Trent end for Sheffield United. There's 2 Sheffield United players right on the goal line trying to block Brice Samba's approach to the ball as in comes the throw. Drops on the 6-yard line. It's hurriedly cleared at the back by Scott McKenna, but it comes back to Sheffield United who try and work the ball back into the box, and then it's half volleyed down to halfway where Norrington Davis, the last man for Sheffield United, gets a good header on the ball, drops in the centre circle, and Yates looks to find a Forest teammate, but it's lobbed downfield looking for Ndiaye, but it will just bounce through to Brice Samba. No goals here, no goals at St Mary's between Southampton and Liverpool. We'll check in with Ian Abraham shortly for the first time tonight, because that game's also underway from 7:45. We've played just over 5 minutes here on TalkSport in the EFL playoffs. Huddersfield Town await in the final for either Nottingham Forest or Sheffield United, and Sheffield United are asking most of the questions, Adrian Clark, in these opening minutes.
Yeah, it's a confident opening from Sheffield United. As I said earlier, they've got a lot of experience in this side, guys that have played in the Premier League, and they're desperate to get back there. I don't think they're going to be overawed by this intimidating atmosphere. The early signs certainly don't suggest they will. One thing that really stands out is how direct they've gone. They're looking to hoist high balls over the top for those 2 young front men at every single opportunity,
which is remarkably similar to what Nottingham Forest have done so often this season.
Absolutely.
To get Surridge and Johnson away. Sheffield United in possession in their own half with the left back Norrington Davis. Hits the ball against Spence, goes out for a throw. Brennan Johnson trying to give chase down the right hand side, trying to get Nottingham Forest forward really for the first time tonight on TalkSport as we approach the 7-minute mark, with Forest attacking the bridge for them to our right, but the ball trickles out of play on this near side. Robinson again will have the throw for the Blades at 0-0.
Got no flow at all, have they, Nottingham Forest? I don't think they've strung more than 3 passes together so far in the match, the home side. It's been an edgy start to this contest from them.
But 0-0 it stays on your home of the EFL playoffs, the TalkSport network, with more to come over the next 2 nights as well. Sheffield United trying to release Norrington Davis through the inside left channel, but the ball didn't make its way through to the Welshman, and Samba will clear, nodded up to halfway by Joe Worrell, but that's a neat turn from Jack Robinson to get away from his former teammate in Brennan Johnson. Robinson left here in January of 2020 to go to Sheffield United. And the Liverpool youngster Jack Robinson So he's not like Joe Worrell, having come through the Forest Academy here.
His long throws are a real weapon, you have to say, for Heckingbottom's
Every team in the Championship's got a long throw specialist now, haven't they?
They're back in fashion, that is for sure. When I played, it was pretty much just Rory Delac, but every team has to have one.
Space for Joe Worrell to move into the Sheffield United half for Forest. It's 0-0 if you're just tuning in to Talk Sport on this Tuesday night. Forest still protecting a 2-1 lead from the first leg on Saturday. With the Wembley showpiece live on Talk Sport on Sunday week. Or Sunday 2 weeks. Anyway, it's at the end of May. Whitsun Bank Holiday weekend on the Sunday. Throw for Sheffield United headed straight back out by Joe Worrell, but it's in the Nottingham Forest half now for this next Sheffield United throw. Both Paul Heckingbottom and Steve Cooper stood right at the edge of the massive technical areas you have here at the City Ground. Got their own postcode, these technical areas down beneath us. Down to the left-hand side, Ndiaye tries to get the better of Worrell. He just hooks it out of play, and Sheffield United have gained some yardage. It's like kicks in rugby, kicking for touch, and they're now level with the edge of the area for the next throw.
It is, and they're just getting into a position where Robinson can launch one of these missiles into the box. I mean, he can throw it into the middle of the 6-yard box. Look where everyone's lining up, Dan. Again, it's like a corner.
Two players standing right on top of Brice Samba as Robinson winds up the throw and headed wide. Coming forward, John Egan was up there, and a really powerful header, but it went a yard or so wide of Samba's right-hand post, and Forest have a corner, but that's a shot across the bows.
Let off.
Sheffield United.
Yeah, huge let-off for Nottingham Forest. It was a fabulous throw-in. The trajectory was so firm and low, wasn't it? Difficult to defend, and Egan got clean contact on the header. He climbed highest inside the box, just less than a yard wide, I think.
10 minutes gone on Talk Sport in the EFL playoffs, the Championship semi-final second leg. 0-0 on the night between Nottingham Forest and Sheffield United. Two teams who have woeful starts to the season, don't forget, but have recovered under the managers who are standing on the touchline beneath us tonight. Steve Cooper for Forest, Paul Heckingbottom for Sheffield United. And the Sheffield United captain Egan clears downfield. Fleck tries to win the ball off Garner, drops in the centre circle. Good strong challenge from Robinson, and he'll get Morgan Gibbs-White away down the right-hand side. The Wolves loanee works it in field for Sander Berger. Quick ball out to the right-hand side, and Baldock just puts his foot on the ball for the moment and tries to release Berger down the right wing. And that's well defended by Nottingham Forest, and the ball just trickles over the dead ball line, and the home side have a goal kick at the Trent End. 0-0 on Talk Sport.
That will give James Garner a lot of confidence, because I was looking at that jaw there. He's kind of been assigned, I think, James Garner, to look after Sander Berger, who's basically a foot taller than him, weighs at least a couple of stone more. It's a physical mismatch, but in that 50-50 he held his own, didn't he, the Nottingham Forest midfielder, and that will give him heart.
Ball out to Scott McKenna by Brice Samba, the Forest keeper. Gives it back to Samba, and now Joe Worrell has it just outside his penalty area right-hand side. Long ball downfield for Forest, but it skips ahead of Jed Spence off this greasy surface. We had a very heavy shower, and it's still drizzling slightly here at the City Ground as we approach the 12-minute mark. And it's a very slick playing surface on which these two semi-finalists are playing. Berger on halfway for Sheffield United, wearing their all-black chain strip tonight as they head for the Trent End in this first half. Work back to the three centre-halves. Egan looks long, but straight down the throat of Scott McKenna. Nods it downfield. Johnson loses out. Hooked away by Robinson, but picked up by Zinkenagel, who's barely had a touch. Ball half cleared. And back here at the City Ground, a massive chance for Sheffield United to bring themselves level on aggregate. Gibbs-White with a ball with the outside of his boot from the left-hand side, about 30 yards out. Picked out Iliman Ndiaye, and what a save from Brice Samba, Adrian Clark.
Absolutely stunning piece of goalkeeping from Brice Samba. He's kept Nottingham Forest ahead in this tie there. He made himself such a big target. Lovely ball, gorgeous from Gibbs-White, and Ndiaye 1v1. Wonderful save.
Spence down the right-hand side for Forest. So Liverpool behind, as you just heard. Still 0-0 here, but Sheffield United so close to getting us back to 2-2 on aggregate. Johnson, though, for Forest, down the right-hand side of the United box. Forces Robinson to put it out of play for a throw. 0-0.
It's the first time we've seen Nottingham Forest in the final third in this match so far. It's been all Sheffield United. It seems to have woken them up, the home side. That save from Samba.
13 minutes gone, 0-0. Johnson, right-hand corner of the box, tries to nick inside Robinson, goes down under pressure from Fleck. No penalty, says Michael Oliver. And meantime, it's Nottingham behind for a corner kick under pressure by Norrington Davis. Corner to Forest at the Bridgeford end at 0-0.
There's contact from Fleck on Brennan Johnson, but it's not a penalty, not in my opinion. Brennan Johnson has a reputation for going down quite easily inside the box. I think that's what happened there. No major appeal, in fairness to him. Michael Oliver called that correctly.
Remember, it's a VAR-free zone in this semi-final at least. When we get to Wembley, VAR will be in operation for the final. Garner with a right-wing corner for Nottingham Forest. Their first of the game. Didn't get past the first defender, Ollie Norwood, and Sheffield United clear their lines, and it's Njai and Gibbs White again combining, and Njai trying to be sent away by Gibbs White down the Sheffield United left, but Jed Spence tracked the run all the way and got the ball back to his keeper, Brice Samba. And that save that he made from Njai, point blank range, midway point of his own box, came out to narrow the angles. Just the sort of goalkeeping you need in a pressure situation.
Yeah, look, it's the first time anyone's made a mistake in the game. Nottingham Forest just switched off, allowed Sheffield United to fashion the opportunity, and that's what the keepers are there for, to save your bacon, and that's what Brice Samba did for Nottingham Forest there. It was a really good instinctive stop, but Sheffield United keep coming at them, don't they?
It's Gibbs White again up to the edge of the area, tries to play a 1-2 with Njai, but it was whacked away by Garner up to the halfway line. Sheffield United lose out, and Zinkernagel tries to get onto the ball in the centre circle, but Norwood gets there ahead of him. It's harum scarum here at the City Ground. It's 0-0. We played a quarter of an hour, and the tempo is ridiculous, and it's scrappy, but it's fascinating at the same time, as Sheffield United send the ball long downfield, but Colback cleverly skims a header back to his keeper Samba. 0-0.
Yeah, it's a real high tempo match, just like the first leg, but I think that heavy shower we had before kickoff has quickened up the pitch even more. Does feel as if there's a bit more ebb and flow to it now. Certainly more spaces beginning to appear for the forward players.
Robinson has been grappling there with Brennan Johnson. That's what the huge shouts were you heard around us here at the City Ground. Forest fans claiming that Johnson was wrestled to the ground illegally by Jack Robinson. Now there is a foul, and Zinkernagel and Fleck come together, and that will be a Forest free kick, as John Fleck was penalised for a foul on the Watford loanee. Forest free kick, 0-0. TalkSport.
Definite foul from Fleck. We know he's a combative player. Zinkernagel's got a big role to play here tonight in that free position, number 10 behind the front two. I thought his movement was very good in that first half at Bramall Lane. He's not really seen much of the ball in the opening exchanges here, but once the game settles down, he could be a real pivotal figure.
0-0 here. Remember, Southampton lead against Liverpool. We'll be back to St Mary's. As things stand, Manchester City will be champions tonight. Free kick to Nottingham Forest at 0-0. Garner clips it into the area, headed across the 12-yard line. Norrington Davis heads the ball out of the penalty box. Worrell tries to get there, and it's headed out of play by Basham for a throw. Don't forget, TalkSport Breakfast back tomorrow at 6 a.m. with Laura Woods, Alan McCoy's live in Seville, and Gabby Bonlahor joining the team from 8 a.m. for all the reaction to what we bring you here tonight and what happens at St Mary's. And of course, looking forward to Rangers against Eintracht Frankfurt in the Europa League final. That's live tomorrow night on TalkSport with Adrian, Jim Proudfoot and Charlie Adam out there in Spain. Jim White's out as well. We are mob-handed out there in Spain at the minute. I'm sure Jim will be poked with sticks by Simon Jordan at regular intervals tomorrow morning from 10 about his team's chances against the Germans tomorrow night in Seville.
No doubt about it. Don't forget TalkSport too, Northampton.
Yes,
playoffs tomorrow. I'll be there.
You will with Joe Shannon, and that's beautifully poised with Northampton 1, Mansfield 2, the score from the first leg. Let's get back to St Mary's with a score at 0-0 here. What's going on down on the south coast? Ian Abrahams.
Southampton 1, Liverpool 0, but Liverpool thought they were level. Firmino headed in a free kick, but he was offside. Still behind. City still heading for the title. Southampton 1, Liverpool 0.
Back with Brice Samba, the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, at 0-0. Here on TalkSport, we played 18 minutes at the City Ground in this white-hot atmosphere in the East Midlands, and the rain starts to come down again, although not quite so much wind as there was. Lovely ball down the left-hand side of the area for Surridge. Puts it across. Johnson! United 0. It's 3-1 on aggregate to the Reds.
Deadly, absolutely deadly. Nottingham Forest, like father, like son. David Johnson scored in both legs of the playoff semi-final. His boy has only gone and done it tonight. Brennan Johnson, what a finish! First time they've really come alive, the front two. One long ball into the left-hand channel. Surridge just superbly. He just feeds it across the face of goal. And he does not miss about, Brennan Johnson. Bang! Into the top corner. The finish of a confident player.
Smoke bombs everywhere at the City Ground. There must have been about 5 or 6 come onto the pitch. Most of them have been cleared away by the stewards. We're back underway on TalkSport. Nottingham Forest 1, Sheffield United 0. And now Sheffield United have got to do to Forest what Forest did to Sheffield United on Saturday and get 2 away goals just to force extra time.
Wow, it's a huge uphill battle for Sheffield United now. Their away record's not brilliant, as it is really. They won at Fulham, but they haven't beaten anyone else on the road that's in the top 10, so they're not great travellers, Sheffield United.
No.
It's going to have to take something very, very special.
Their win at QPR was their only win in 7 away trips before the playoffs began.
Yeah. They've been the better side, hadn't they, up until that goal? But this is Nottingham Forest in a nutshell. They can hold you, and then they strike.
Njai wins the ball back down the right-hand side, down by the corner flag as Sheffield United try and respond. Njai gets it and rolls it across the face of goal. It's cleared away without too much fuss by Steve Cook. The former Bournemouth defender goes out of play, so Sheffield United have a throw on the far side. So a 3-1 aggregate lead for Nottingham Forest now, with just over 20 minutes gone on TalkSport this Tuesday evening. Nottingham Forest will want to settle down and refocus. You're never more vulnerable when you've just scored a goal, said the great Brian Clough.
This is true. But try telling the fans to settle down. It's not happening. They are loving it.
Well, the Forest fans have suffered here in home second legs in the playoffs. More on that in a moment, because Forest are coming forward again with Surridge. Finds Jed Spence, inside right position, up to the edge of the area. Surridge, right hand side of the box, was drive towards goal, blocked by Basham. Out for a throw on this near side to Nottingham Forest, whose tails are up here at the City Ground. They lead 1-0 and the rain intensifies here in the East Midlands.
Good football that, wasn't it? A little dummy from Surridge. He gets the ball back from Zinchenko. Nice triangle from Nottingham Forest. They have got some quality, they really have, in forward areas. Surridge and Johnson is a great double act in my opinion. Keenan Davis was great when he was in the side, but he got injured. Surridge has come in, and there seems to be a great chemistry, a wonderful connection between these two frontmen. And Stoke got rid of him after 6 months.
Brennan Johnson down the right-hand side for Forest. Right-hand corner of the area, trying to twist and turn away from Egan. Cleared out to the edge of the box, and a right-footed effort from James Garner snakes wide of Wes Fotheringham's right-hand post. Sheffield United have a goal kick, and in the last 5 minutes, Sheffield United do not know what's hit them.
Well, they're caught in the storm, aren't they? Sheffield United. Forest are like a whirlwind right now. Loving life. They smell blood. They want the second goal, and I think they're right to go for it. They can't leave that back door open. Not with Ndai, with Berger, with Gibbs White, but they're not playing with fear, and they don't under Steve Cooper. That's why they've had such success.
1-0 to Forest on the night, 3-1 on aggregate. John Fleck tries a long-range shot for Sheffield United. Comes out to Berger at the edge of the D. His shot's blocked by Colback. Comes back to the halfway line, and Egan picks up the loose ball for the visitors. Works it out to Baldock, trying to play a 1-2 with Gibbs White. Baldock has to turn away back towards the halfway line, and he's want to throw out on the far side of the field from us on the Brian Clough stand side here at the City Ground for a throw to Sheffield United, who are a goal down on the night, 3-1 on aggregate if you're just tuning in to TalkSport. As our playoff coverage continues, we brought you Huddersfield's dramatic late winner against Luton Town last night. And this driving rain is not dampening the spirits of those all around us. The Bridgeford end in this Peter Taylor stand, and now in the Trent end, they're clapping their hands like crazy here. But I will go back to some of those nights they've had here against the likes of Blackpool and Yeovil in the playoffs, where it has gone horribly wrong for them.
History's not been on their side really in the playoffs.
Never reached the final, but they are one step closer to it now, thanks to Brennan Johnson's goal. And they lead at the midway point of this first half on TalkSport. And Paul Heckingbottom maintains his watching brief, arms folded. Stuart McCall, his lieutenant, just next to him as Robinson launches another long throw infield. Good control from Gibbs White with his back to play. Now turns and runs down the left-hand side of the Nottingham Forest area. It's cleared away by Spence, only as far as Norrington Davis, who thinks he's won a corner, or is it a throw? I think it might be a throw, just this side of the corner flag at the Trent end for Sheffield United.
And we know what's coming. It's going to be one of those long throws launched in the box.
Yeah, he's trying his ball.
Egan almost scored from the last one. What can they do here?
He's just trying the ball on the underside of his jersey. Launches the throw into the near post. Headed up and out by Spence. Back doing some good defending from right wing back for Forest. Johnson giving chase, gets onto a loose ball. Now he's in a race with Norrington Davis, but he's no slouch, and he gets there and comfortably works the ball back to West Fotheringham. First time clearance downfield, flicked on by Berger. And Dye trying to hold it up, but Steve Cook too physical for him. Breaks in the centre circle, and Sheffield United have it back with Jack Robinson. And McKenna in possession for Forest, who've just seen Brennan Johnson go down off the ball after he tried to chase down West Fotheringham as he cleared downfield. He's gone back onto his haunches again as I look down to my right hand side. Now he's sitting down on the turf and he wants some treatment. The goal scorer for Nottingham Forest just looking a little disconsolate. We've played 25 minutes. It's 1-0 on the night, 3-1 to Forest on aggregate. Here's Adrian Clark.
Well, this would be a concern for Steve Cooper and for Nottingham Forest fans if the problem is serious. Not quite sure what the issue is with Brennan Johnson, but he is such an electric player, isn't he, Dance? We've seen it. He's every time the ball comes near him, you feel as if something's going to happen. He's so fast and a clinical finisher as well. Nottingham Forest have been clinical. That's why I was surprised how many chances they've missed in the first leg. The second most lethal side in the Championship in the regular season in terms of converting chances. When they come forward, they invariably find the back of the net. They don't have to have a lot of the ball, Nottingham Forest, to hurt you.
Johnson will be back on in a minute. He's been led to this near touchline. Appears to be okay. And he's now allowed back on as Sheffield United come forward with Iliman Ndiaye. Left-hand corner of the Forest box, looking to jink away from his man. Rolls it back to the edge of the area where he hopes somebody was running onto it. Nobody was, but he's got onto the loose ball. Sends the ball goalwards, and it's a good save. Plunging low to his left by Brice Samba, and he holds onto the ball for Nottingham Forest. The rain continues to thump down at the City Ground, and it remains 1-0 to Forest on the night, 3-1 on aggregate.
It's a snapshot, isn't it, from Iliman Ndiaye? And I think tonight is the night for snapshots. Just have a go, because this rain has made it pretty difficult for goalkeepers, and that one skidded off the turf. It wasn't struck that powerfully, but it was something that Samba had to think about.
Now Surridge, who got away down the left-hand side to assist for the Forest opener, goes out of play as Colback was barged into. It's going to be a throw to Nottingham Forest, who lost 6 of their first 7 games to be bottom of the league when Steve Cooper took over. They only got into the top 6 in late April. It's a very late charge. They didn't get any higher than 3rd. Of course, they had that crucial game against Bournemouth down at the Vitality where they could conceivably have taken it to the final day for automatic promotion.
Yeah, they lost their way in that game. I think Scott Parker won the tactical battle, and they didn't play in the manner that got them there. Nottingham Forest, they kind of choked on the big night. Seems to me as if they're very determined to make amends.
Certainly not choking here as things stand. They're 1-0 up Forest, and they're coming forward again as Yates wins the ball off Gibbs White on halfway. Sets Surridge away down the left towards the Bridgeford end, but he can't get past the towering figure of Chris Basham, who's just signed an extension to his Sheffield United contract for a couple more years at Bramall Lane. Cleared downfield by Norwood, who's not been the influence he would like to be in the Sheffield United midfield so far. We've played nearly half an hour on TalkSport, and Forest lead by a goal to nil.
When Oliver Norwood plays well, Sheffield United play well, and I think that's been an area that they've struggled in both legs so far. Norwood needs to be on the ball. He needs to get it, dictate, start to drill those longer passes into the front men. No one in a Sheffield United shirt has put more balls into the box than Oliver Norwood this season, but he's barely had a kick here tonight.
That's Adrian Clark, the former Arsenal winger, alongside me, Ian Dancer on commentary. Here's Sander Berge for Sheffield United, trying to get into the box and treads on the ball at a vital moment and allows Jack Colback to clear up to halfway. 1-0 here to Forest. As you've heard, Liverpool have equalised through Minamino at St Mary's. That's one apiece in the Premier League. Sheffield United trying to come forward into the area, and Johnny almost got a piece of it, but between Colback and Steve Cook, Nottingham Forest got the ball clear. But it's back with the Blades once again, and Sander Berge, their tall, rangy Norwegian midfielder. Bullock on the overlap, right-hand side, just checks inside Colback for a moment, looks for Berge, right-hand corner of the box, drives it down the right-hand side of the area. Good cross, but headed clear by Jed Spence under pressure from Norrington Davis, and then a foul by Robinson on Johnson, and Michael Oliver wants at least a word with the former Forest centre-half. No further punishment, won't be a yellow, much to the disgust of the locals. It'll just be a free kick to Forest. 1-0 on the night, 3-1 on aggregate to Steve Cooper's men.
He's a young man, he'll have to get used to this, Wenham Johnson, because defenders will do what Jack Robinson just did there to him throughout his career. They'll try and get tight, they'll try and stop him turning, they'll be aggressive, and at times they'll go through the back of him, but he's got to be able to shrug that off.
I think that's the point that Alan Tate is making to Graham Scott, the fourth official, and Alan Tate as a centre-half at Swansea was never backward in coming forward.
You're not
with
wrong.
his opinions. Alongside Gary Monk in those days when Swansea made their way through the leagues. Actually, Forest were one of their victims on the way to the Premier League in a playoff semi-final. Forest lead though here in the first half on TalkSport. Here's Jed Spence finding Ryan Yates. Half an hour gone, 1-0 to Forest on the night, 3-1 on aggregate. And Colback, who scored the opener at Bramall Lane on Saturday, just works the ball in field to Philip Zinkernagel, centre of the Sheffield United half. Options right and left, goes right for Spence, who gives it back to Zinkernagel. Now Yates leaves it for Zinkernagel to take over again, drives into the centre of the half, plays it left for Scott McKenna driving forward. Thought he was going to shoot for a minute there, the centre half, and then the ball hits the referee, and he won't. He does stop play, hit him, and then broke for Sander Berge, and he will just have an uncontested drop ball here to restart play. 1-0 to Nottingham Forest in the EFL playoffs. And don't forget, tomorrow night on TalkSport, the Europa League final, live from Seville. Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Charlie Adam, former Rangers player. It is the little matter of Rangers against Eintracht Frankfurt. Coverage starts at 7 whilst on TalkSport 2. The League 2 playoffs continue. Northampton Town against Mansfield. Mansfield holding a 2-1 advantage from the first leg of the one call. And the man alongside me tonight, Adrian Clark, will be there at Sixfields alongside Joe Shannon. And then Thursday, we've got a bonus Premier League game for you. Burnley against Aston Villa at Villa Park. Again, our coverage starts at 7 here on TalkSport, whilst I will be at Vale Park on Thursday alongside Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. Port Vale against Swindon Town in the final League 2 semi-final second leg, and that again beautifully poised with Swindon 2-1 up from the first leg, travelling to Vale Park. Now there's missed none of the action here because Sheffield United defender's just getting a bit of treatment inside his own half, and it's given all players a chance to put hands on hips and have a bit of a breather here, because it's been high tempo stuff, Adrian Clark, up to this point. You're listening to EFL Championship live on TalkSport with McDonald's Fun Football. Search McDonald's Fun Football to find out more. Ian Danter and Adrian Clark with you here at the City Ground. Hugh Rosencroft is here too. He will pick up the cudgels at half time, and Hugh was here when Nottingham Forest had other excellent performances at home here this season in the FA Cup.
He's the good luck charm, isn't he?
Maybe he's the reverse Jonas.
He's the mascot they didn't know about until tonight.
We're back underway as John Egan sends a long ball downfield looking for Morgan Gibbs-White, but Brice Samba swiftly out to the edge of his area to claim, and he will just bowl it out underarm to Steve Cook. Forest captain Joe Worrell takes over. Long ball downfield laid off by Sturridge for Johnson, trying to nick it in field for Zinkernagel, but Sheffield United temporarily won the ball back, and then Jed Spence working very hard going back into his own half to retrieve possession for Forest, and they have a throw on this near side. We've played 34 minutes, just over 10 to half time then on TalkSport. Forest still 3-1 up on aggregate, courtesy of that Brennan Johnson goal midway through the first half.
Yeah, what a finish it was. I think Surridge deserves a lot of credit for the channel run that he made and for playing with his head up. Beautiful ball, just guided along the face of the goal for Johnson to convert. And it's been a great first half. Very, very frenetic. And impressed with Nottingham Forest. We've seen both sides of their game. We've seen them really dangerous on the transition, but also keep the ball inside their half for that break in play. They're more than capable of just knocking it around in triangles, 2s, 3s, 4s.
Worrell sends the ball down the Forest right, looking for Johnson, but it's headed out of play by Robinson, straight into the Sheffield United dugout. So Spence will have the throw for Forest. We are now in the last 10 minutes of the first half here in the East Midlands. Forest with a 2-goal advantage now, with a 19th minute strike from Brennan Johnson, his 18th of the season, and easily his best goal scoring season. He had a loan at Lincoln last year, where he developed nicely under Michael Appleton, but maybe even he's slightly surprised at the strides that he's made at championship level under Steve Cooper this year.
Well, it shows the value of going out on loan, doesn't it? He learned his trade as an EFL player there. It was brilliant for Michael Appleton's team, guided them to the playoffs, and he's just kicked on. I expected him to have a good season, but maybe not 18 goals, 10 assists. That is just unreal, and it's put him into a different stratosphere. He's a name everyone is talking about now, Brennan Johnson.
Pulls out a play for a Forest throw on this near side, right next to the Sheffield United dugout. Spence, he has it shoved back into him by the Sheffield United manager, Paul Heckingbottom. Just shoved it into his midriff, and now there's a melee. Coaching staff, substitutes, players all getting involved. That is ridiculous. Paul Heckingbottom just shoved the ball into Jed Spence's midriff because he felt he was taking too long to collect the ball for the throw. What was going through his head there?
It's a disgrace, that's what it is. I think he should get sent off here, Paul Heckingbottom. You cannot do that and expect to get away with it. Idiotic from the Sheffield United gaffer.
Well, Michael Oliver has kept his distance, and only now is the referee having a word with Steve Cook, and he's going to head for the touchline in a minute. Paul Heckingbottom just stands and waits at the edge of the technical area, and it will be a yellow card for the Sheffield United manager, not a red. But if he'd got a red, I very much doubt he'd have had any complaints at all about that, Adrian Clark.
I think he's lucky, I really do. Maybe he's taken into account the context of the game, I don't know, but I've seen managers sent off for less. You can't go around doing that kind of thing, and there's no surprise to see everyone get involved. The Forest players were very quick, weren't they, to leap on that. Michael Oliver, I think, has been quite generous to Heckingbottom.
Nobody else has been punished for the ensuing melee either. At least it doesn't appear so, although now he's looking at Joe Worrell.
Steve Cooper is staring at Paul Heckingbottom. He wants to look him in the eye and say, what do you think you're doing there?
He's got hands on hips, Steve Cooper. You could get a roll of lino under each arm.
He is not happy at all, and he's looking to catch eye contact with Heckingbottom, who's just ignoring him.
So just to explain what happened again, Jed Spence was collecting the ball and taking his time over collecting the ball for a throw-in on this near side. It bounced into Paul Heckingbottom, who grabbed the ball and just shoved it straight into the lower stomach, the lower midriff of Jed Spence. And then a melee ensued. Absolutely ridiculous from Paul Heckingbottom. And he gets a yellow card for that.
I've just seen the replay. So it's a pretty forceful way that he slammed it into his tummy. I think that's a red. I do, for a manager to do that. I can't quite believe what I've seen.
Shows the pressure he's under with his team 2 goals behind on aggregate. But they're trying to come forward with Njai trying to release Sander Berger down the right-hand side. But it just rolls through to Sander Berger. And now the Nottingham Forest fans have another pantomime villain to boo. They've had Jack Robinson, their former centre-half, in their sights. Now it's the Sheffield United manager who stands arms crossed at the edge of his technical area. But he had a rush of blood there, no question about it.
Don't think I've ever seen anything happen like that.
Well, we've seen, of course, Alan Pardew try and, headbutt.
I mean, yeah, he's not
a play. All sorts of ridiculous stuff we've seen. But anyway, let's move on. The game's back underway. It's 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. 3-1 on aggregate. We'll check back in with Ian Abrahamson and St Mary's very shortly, where Liverpool are level at 1-1 with Southampton. Jed Spence wins the ball off Jack Robinson. Johnson going down the right-hand side, tries to cross to the far post for Surridge. It's overhit and will go out of play for a Sheffield United throw. 5 minutes to half-time. Do apologise if you heard any colourful language in the immediate aftermath of that incident with Paul Heckingbottom and Jed Spence. The rain continues to tumble down here at the City Ground as we are locked in this incredibly tense evening, and the tension's only been added to by what just went on there. Nottingham Forest 1, Sheffield United 0. David Johnson's goal on 19 minutes, giving Forest a 2-goal cushion.
I just wonder whether Heckingbottom was saved a little bit by Jed Spence. You've seen players hit the deck for less, haven't you? In terms of when there's contact, he didn't make a fuss of it.
No,
maybe that
he stayed on his feet.
Yeah, I mean, as he should.
Yes,
we're not saying that he needed to go down there. We saw what happened. But yeah, it was a rush of blood to the head from the Sheffield United manager. I'm sure he'll regret it. I'm sure he will apologise for it afterwards. That was it was uncalled for.
Sheffield United trying to win the ball on the halfway line. John Fleck guides the ball down for Berger, and now it's rolled back to John Egan. One of the three centre-halves for the Blades. Fires it down the centre of the field. Good touch from Ndiaye. Now Morgan Gibbs-White running at the Forest back three. Norrington Davies calling for it on this near side, the left. Getting down towards the dead ball line. Clips the ball to the far post. Strong header clear by McKenna. And forward steps Jack Robinson. Johnson goes down, claiming he was pushed by Fleck, who's now in possession for Sheffield United. Tries to float the crossing, but overhits it. Johnson stayed down, and some of the fans here amongst us in the Peter Taylor stand are claiming that Fleck barged in illegally to Brennan Johnson, who's still down, face down in the turf inside his own half.
Yeah, I didn't see anything major there, if I'm being honest. I think that Brennan Johnson is maybe milking this.
Well, we should say at this point we don't have the benefit of instant replays here in our commentary position, so we haven't seen anything immediate, but nevertheless it's getting a bit tetchy out there.
It is, and
not just on the touchline.
No, the Forest fans didn't need firing up anymore, did they?
Just a bit of a collision. I think Fleck knew where Johnson was and made sure he was in position, and then the cross came in from John Fleck and it came to nothing. Into the last 3 minutes of the first half on TalkSport. Forest 1 up on the night, 3-1 up on aggregate. Now forward comes Iliman Ndiaye to the edge of the Forest area. He's only got one defender facing him up. Tries to play a 1-2 with Gibbs-White, trying to flick it back to him. Hurry clearance from Cook, goes out of play for a Sheffield United throw, who are trying to rally the Blades at the end of this first half. 1-0 down on the night.
Yeah, they've been resilient though, haven't they, Nottingham Forest at the back. The front two of Sheffield United look sharp tonight, Ndiaye and Gibbs-White, but have they really penetrated that back three? Have they got behind them? Not very often.
Jack Robinson finds Norrington Davies on this near touchline. Rolls it in field for Ollie Norwood. Norwood's going to go for goal, and it whizzes over the crossbar. I think Samba had it covered, but it was a fierce hit. And one of the first things we've seen all half in an attacking sense from Sheffield United's Ollie Norwood. Forest lead 1-0 here.
Yeah, he's not the kind of player you want to allow space to. When he's 25 yards out from goal, if he's got space to look up and strike the ball, he will do that, Ollie Norwood, and it was a wonderful hit. It had movement on it, the shot, but never really threatened to dip underneath the crossbar.
Samba under a bit of pressure from Ndiaye, clears the ball downfield. One on halfway by the black shirts of Sheffield United, Norwood specifically, and back it goes to John Egan. But Sheffield United are running out of time in this first half to try and get a foothold in this second leg. Gibbs-White scrapping for possession down the far side of the field with Scott McKenna, but McKenna helped out by Colback, does really wrong. Colback was clipped by Gibbs-White, and that'll be a free kick to Nottingham Forest in their left back position. The playoffs are not for the faint-hearted. Nottingham Forest 1, Sheffield United 0, 3-1 on aggregate, and now Steve Cooper and Stuart McCall are having a bit of a set too on the touchline.
Yeah, there'll be resentment, no doubt about that. Because managers are extremely protective of their players.
It's strange to see Alan Tate actually taking a back seat in all these little contretemps that are going on down beneath.
You mentioned how big the technical areas are here at the City Grounds. It's a kind of a good job they're that size. It's a good job they're spread out a bit, because you wouldn't want these two managers or these coaching staff right next to one another at the moment.
If it was Portsmouth, we'd be all over each other. Into 3 minutes of added time we go at the end of this first half on TalkSport. Sheffield United a goal down on the night and 3-1 on aggregate. Have a throw on the far side. Iliman and Jai and Gibbs White trying to combine, but Forest win it back only temporarily though. Sander Berger showing good strength on halfway, and he releases Jack Robinson, who tries to fire it down this near side for Norrington Davis, but he's overhit it. Goes straight out of play. Home fans delighted at that misplaced pass. Forest have a throw in stoppage time at the end of this first half.
Yeah, and now Nottingham Forest need to take the sting out of the game. They need to just see it through now until that half-time whistle blows. They're the ones in the box seat. They've got that all-important first goal. It's going to take something monumental from Sheffield United to come back here.
Now Stuart McCall's having a bit of a chat with some of the supporters down beneath us behind the dugout in the Peter Taylor stand. And meanwhile, the ball goes back into the Forest area, and Cook, under pressure from Njai, hooks the ball clear. And the ball's allowed to go out of play by Norrington Davis, protected it away from Spence. So Sheffield United have a throw. We played a minute of the minimum 3 that have been added on at the end of this first half, and wouldn't you just know it, that Jack Robinson long throw being lined up on this near side.
They've all gone forward for it. They're just leaving one player back here, Sheffield United. It's Norrington Davis. Everybody else piling forward.
Again, loads of players in Sheffield United black standing around in the 6-yard box trying to obscure Bruce Samber's view. In comes the throw, headed out by Steve Cook, comes out to Norrington Davis, and the offside flag actually goes up after that header was won. So a bit of a way, you can't be offside from the post, so it must have been from the flick on that was made at the near post. Forest have a free kick and they lead 3-1 on aggregate. Nottingham Forest here on TalkSport.
Just the one scare from those long throws, wasn't it? The Egan header that went just past the post. Other than that, I have to say that the Forest rear guarders held firm. They've put their head on the ball, they've won that first contact, and they've picked up a lot of second balls as well. So I think Steve Cooper will be really, really pleased with his first half performance. The strikers haven't had that much of the ball, but when it's come to them, they delivered, didn't they? Surridge and Brennan Johnson.
Now an offside flag goes up against Nottingham Forest as they come forward, so Sheffield United have a free kick taken quickly. Chris Basham works it in to Norwood just over the halfway line, plays the ball backwards to square to Robinson, out to this near touchline the United left, and Norrington Davis put under pressure from Spence, he gives it away. Now Forest coming forward at the end of the half. Johnson down the right side of the box, Surridge is unmarked, but his cross is deflected into the arms of West Fotheringham, and United survive what could have been a potentially killer second goal. Now brilliant turn from Gibbs White for Sheffield United on halfway to get away from Worrell, motoring into the edge of the area, but he goes down under pressure from Cook, who won the ball cleanly, and the referee brings a frantic first half to a close, and the noise around the City ground, because the Forest fans know they are 45 minutes away now from their first ever Wembley final in the playoffs. Wembley was their home for so many years in the Clough years. They've not been back since 1992, but David Johnson with a firm right-footed finish in the 19th minute, following a cross from the left by Sam Surridge, has given Nottingham Forest a 2-goal advantage, and all the players and ancillary staff are slowly making their way down the tunnel. Paul Heckingbottom was yellow carded late in the half by Michael Oliver for shoving a ball into the lower stomach of Forest fullback Jed Spence when he was irritated by the length of time it was taking Forest to take the throw. It's been ill-tempered at times. The tempo's been fantastic, and Nottingham Forest are almost there in a playoff final after all their recent heartaches down the years in this post-season jamboree. At half-time on TalkSport, it's Nottingham Forest 1, Sheffield United 0. That makes it 3-1 on aggregate to Forest. Thanks, Hugh. Back underway with Nottingham Forest immediately under pressure as Morgan Gibbs-White goes down inside the Forest penalty area, but Michael Oliver wades away any half-hearted claims of the penalty. Sheffield United, wearing their all-black away strip, are attacking the Bridgeford end where their supporters are, away in that far corner in this second half. Forest in their red shirts and socks and white shorts, heading for their beloved Trent end away to our left in this second period. I'll run you through the lineups in a minute, but here's Gibbs White again inside the area, right-hand side, trying to get a cross into Njai. He was about to fleck at the edge of the area, but a weak shot from the edge of the D from the Scotsman, dribbles wide, and it's a goal kick for Nottingham Forest, to have Samba in goal, Worrell, Cook and McKenna are back three, Spence, Yates, Garnett and Cole back in midfield, Zinkernagel in behind the goal scorer Johnson, and Surridge for Sheffield United. Fotheringham, their keeper. They haven't made any changes at the break either side. Basham, Egan and Robinson the back three, and here's Ndiaye getting through the middle into the area. Great challenge by Joe Worrell, just got a foot in, but Ndiaye has it again, rolls it back to Sander Berger down the right hand side of the box, gets to the byline, pulls it back, Gibbs White turns it in. An immediate response from Sheffield United at the start of the second half, and it's the man that Steve Cooper used to coach when he was an England youth coach, who's given Sheffield United, his opponents, a route back into this playoff semi-final. Not a minute and a half into the second period, Sheffield United equalise. It's 3-2 on aggregate to Nottingham Forest.
Game on. They have caught Nottingham Forest napping at the start of this second half. They're still in the dressing room. Such a slow start for the hosts. They were on the front foot, the Blades, and they've made their pressure tell very, very quickly. Didn't Berger do well? Got to the byline, chopped the ball back for Gibbs White. It was a one-touch finish, angled into the far corner, and all of a sudden it's gone a bit quiet, hasn't it, around us?
Bulldog trying to find Sander Berger down this near side. He's won a throw. Well, their tails are up now, Sheffield United. They were sent out early with a flea in their ear, presumably from their manager, Paul Heckingbottom, who we saw how angry he was in the first half. Led to a yellow card for him. But here comes Sheffield United again. One more would level it up for the Blaze. And here's Berger again getting to the byline. This time he wins a corner off Jack Colback, and the United fans on the far side of the Bridgeford end, suddenly they're in a sort of voice you didn't hear from them in the first half.
They really are, and Berger has really come alive. He seems to be taking up a position on the right-hand side a little bit more often than he did in that first period. He's got the legs on his Forest marker, no doubt about that. He just goes past players. Sander Berger wins his side a corner here. It's these are nervy moments, aren't they, for Nottingham Forest? 5 minutes ago, they were dreaming of Wembley. It was happening for them. All of a sudden, the picture has changed.
3 minutes ago, they were singing Mull of Kintyre, full of beans, and maybe one or two were plotting their routes to Wembley. Here's Fleck with a deep corner, headed across the face of goal. It hit Ndiaye on its way to goal, sent back across the face and goes behind for another corner. Nottingham Forest at the start of this second half are living on their nerves. They're still a goal ahead, 3-2 on aggregate, 1-1 on the night. United corner.
They can't get caught up in this. They have to concentrate. Nottingham Forest, they are up against it here. Sheffield United smell blood, and Forest have to keep their wits about them here.
Egan whipping up the fans behind that goal for Sheffield United as it's whipped into the near post, and a skimming header goes wide for another corner, came off a Forest head. Sheffield United have a third corner in very, very quick succession here. Reminder, it's 1-1 on the night, 3-2 on aggregate to Nottingham Forest here at the City Ground on TalkSport.
Yeah, well, Berger scored, didn't he? That consolation goal in the first leg. How important might that be? He scored it from a corner, and he looks a real target here from these flag kicks for Sheffield United. A really big unit, but they've got a number of players that are more than capable of scoring from set pieces.
There's a love train for Sheffield United just next to the penalty spot. England styling, as John Fleck is preparing this next corner, but Michael Oliver just having a word with one or two. The assistant just standing over the ball where Fleck has placed it down, where the Peter Taylor meets the Bridgeford end, away to our right. Here comes the left-footed corner, again deep to the far post, looking for Sander Berger, who will try and keep it in play and prevent a goal kick. He has. It's a throw to Nottingham Forest in their right back position. That's two really deep corners that Sheffield United have hit with that little flurry of activity, where they've got themselves level on the night here on TalkSport.
They have, and it's set up now, isn't it, for a thrilling, nervy second period. It's deliberate. That love train that you were talking about was a decoy, basically. Everyone was concentrating on that, and Berger 1v1 at the far post, was backing himself to get on the end of that deep cross. He almost did on that occasion.
Your home of the EFL playoffs, the TalkSport Network. And ball's out of play. Worrell thought he was clipped by John Fleck, but Michael Oliver, vastly experienced Premier League and Champions League referee, and Paul Heckingbottom and Stuart McCall and Steve Cooper once again having loud words with one another across the divide of the technical areas. Meantime, Jack Robinson winding up for another long throw for Sheffield United into the box, headed up in the air by McKenna, out to the edge of the box. John Fleck can't get a touch on it. Ollie Norwood nods it back towards the areas, fouled by Garner as he applied the header, spotted by Michael Oliver. Free kick Sheffield United in the middle of the Forest half. We played 6 minutes of the second half on TalkSport, 1-1 on the night, 3-2 to Forest on aggregate.
And Forest all of a sudden are making silly decisions. They're beginning to panic, and when you begin to panic, you get rash and headstrong, and that's what Forest did there by committing the foul in a really bad position.
So a free kick that Ollie Norwood has spotted down centre of the Forest half. Swings it deep to the far post, headed across the face of goal, and drops at the far post and nodded behind by a Forest defender for another Sheffield United corner. They are asking all sorts of questions here, the Blades.
It's incessant, isn't it? The pressure from the visitors. They have been on fire since they came back out for the second half. One-way traffic, and Forest look a bag of nerves, I have to say, as they mark up inside their own box here.
John Fleck again with the corner where the Peter Taylor meets the Bridgeford end away to our right. Another deep left-footed corner into the far post. The heads go up, and it was a Sheffield United player that got the final touch. I think it was Jack Robinson who couldn't get the effort that he wanted, and it just looped high over the crossbar, and Bruce Sambert will get a goal kick. 7 gone, second half, 1-1 on the night, 3-2 on aggregate. Here's Adrian Clark.
Yeah, Forest need to get their foot on the ball, and they need to just keep it out of Sheffield United's clutches just for 4 or 5 minutes, just to calm everything down. I have to say, if Sheffield United continue to push and push like this, it will leave spaces for Brennan Johnson, for Surridge on those counters. But this is on the knife edge, this contest now.
1-1 on the night, 3-2 on aggregate. If you're just tuning in to TalkSport, Forest still have that 1 goal advantage. Away goals do not count double. I remind you, in the playoffs they were abolished back in 2000, 2001. I remember my lot were the first to suffer for the away goals rule being abolished, but I'm not bitter. Throw to Nottingham Forest, level with the edge of their own penalty area, right hand side. Joe Worrell, the skipper, looking to launch it back in field. Down that far touchline in front of the Brian Clough stand. Garner just hits a high looping ball into the Sheffield United half, and Egan has to head in out of play under pressure from Surridge, and this is what Adrian Clark was just talking about, getting the ball into the opposition half and settling themselves down again, Nottingham Forest.
That back three need a breather. For starters, they've just been so overworked since we resumed in this second half, and this is where they need to be. Nottingham Forest just probing inside Sheffield United territory.
Sinkernagle's given it away though, long ball up to halfway, but it's beyond Gibbs White, who was really, really bright and attentive in those opening seconds of the restart for Sheffield United, and it's his devil-may-care attitude that was a big reason why Sheffield United got themselves level on the night so quickly.
He's such a slippery customer, Gibbs White. He takes up unusual positions between the lines. Defenders don't know how to mark him. He's got quick feet, lovely balance about him as well, and he can finish, Gibbs White. We talked ahead of kick-off about the 2 stars of the show, the 2 gems really on either side. Brennan Johnson for Forest, Morgan Gibbs White for Sheffield United, and they are the main protagonists so far.
Wouldn't you just know it, they're both on the score sheet. 1-1 on TalkSport as the playoffs continue. Huddersfield Town, I'd love to know what Carlos Corbrand's making of this whilst he's listening to TalkSport tonight, no doubt. Forest send a deep cross into the area, but it's too close to West Fotheringham. He can let the ball bounce and skip through and put his hands up and claim it quite comfortably, the Sheffield United keeper, who, let's not forget, made some excellent saves in the first half of the first leg to make sure that Sheffield United had something to go at tonight.
Well, the reason this second half is so interesting is because of Fotheringham's heroics. made some great saves.
Now here's Surridge trying to release Johnson, but touch was weak and it allowed Jack Robinson just to volley the ball downfield, but that's too far ahead of Njai and neatly headed back by McKenna in the Forest back three to his goalkeeper Samba. Now Worrell looks for Brennan Johnson down the right-hand side. They often do that to try and release Johnson, and that forces Jack Robinson, the Sheffield United centre-half, to hook the ball out of play into those supporters opposite us in the Brian Clough stand for a Forest throw.
They're scared stiff of the pace of Nottingham Forest. Johnson is so quick. Surridge is pretty tidy as well across the turf. And they're dropping off, and that's giving Nottingham Forest this territory.
It's almost as quick as you were.
Oh, he's quicker than me, that is for sure. Blimey.
Adrian Clark alongside me, Ian Danter tonight. He's joking, of course. He was quick when he played for Arsenal and Southend and Stevenage. And this game has quickly gone Sheffield United's way in the second half, but they still need another goal to level it on aggregate. Same score here at the City Ground, but that scoreline still means that Nottingham Forest have a goal advantage in this Championship playoff semi-final live on Talk Sport. I gather that Stuart Broad has dragged Joe Root along to the City Ground, who's sat here tonight. So, Midlands against Yorkshire.
I got tickets to see those guys later in the summer, over the road.
Oh yes,
looking forward to that.
And Sean Dyche is here tonight, who's a local yokel, let's not forget. I think he lives in Kettering these days, doesn't he, Sean Dyche? Not too far away.
Well, it's the hottest ticket in town, that is for sure.
Oh yeah, there's not a seat to be had. So it is Stuart Broad, a Nottingham Forest fan, and Joe Root, a Blades fan. I bet they're not looking at each other at all whilst this game's going on. Ball's out of play. Forest player was caught, and a yellow card's been administered. I think it was Jack Robinson who got the yellow card there. Brennan Johnson had come short, and Robinson, whose job it is to keep his eye on him more often than not, Adrian Clark, he took him out.
Not for the first time tonight, and deservedly picked up a yellow card. He'll have a few bruises, Brother Johnson. He'll have plenty throughout his career, no doubt about that, but if he keeps on scoring at this rate, he won't mind that at all. Kind of a sign of respect, isn't it?
You're listening to Talk Sport, home of the playoffs. All three finals to come, including the League One final this coming Saturday afternoon between Wycombe Wanderers and Sunderland at Wembley Stadium. Sunderland are asking for more tickets. They've already sold 40,000. They want more from the EFL. Wycombe have sold 20,000, I believe.
Yeah. Well, if they're going to be empty seats, why can't Sunderland have them?
Well, they've asked. So the League One playoff final with Adrian, Sam Matterface and Mickey Gray will be straight down the middle on Saturday afternoon. Live on Talk Sport, if you believe that. You'll believe anything. Here's Fotheringham for Sheffield United, driving the ball downfield, the goalkeeper. It's well controlled on halfway by Norrington Davis. Now Norwood lofts it downfield looking for Gibbs White. Well, the black shirts of Sheffield United have got plenty forward here as they move into the Forest half, urged on by their management team just down beneath us. Sander Berger, little back heel to get George Baldock into the game as he runs along the 18-yard line. Try to flick it in for Gibbs White. It's only half cleared by Forest. Fired out to the near side, the far side of the left for Norrington Davis, who's trying to take on Jed Spence. Spence trying to hold him up. Norrington Davis trying to knock it back for Fleck, but that's well intercepted. But Forest gave the ball up almost as soon as they tried to break to halfway.
Their passing second half has not been good, Nottingham Forest.
Now there's a foul on Gibbs White by Ryan Yates after they felt that Zinkernagel had been fouled, the Forest fans in front of us just a moment before.
Yeah, they're headstrong at the moment, the home team, and they're getting flustered.
Now Njai darting down the left-hand side of the area, but the ball's got away from him thanks to a Forest deflection. Corner kick. Another corner kick. They've had at least 5 in this second half. We're approaching the hour mark on Talk Sport in the Championship playoff semi-final second leg. A reminder, Forest won, Sheffield United won on the night, 3-2 to Forest on aggregate. But since the restart, we've barely seen the ball heading towards the Trent end. It's all been at the Bridgeford end where this corner is.
Yeah, we thought they had a mountain to climb, Sheffield United. Well, they're halfway up already.
Norwood with the corner. Swung into around the penalty spot. Good strong header from Yates, but there was a foul on a Forest player anyway at the edge of the box, spotted by Michael Oliver, and Forest can clear their lines with a free kick.
And what that goal has done has just changed the mood inside the stadium, and I think it's impacted on the team as well. All of a sudden they're looking at the clock, they're thinking, well, we've got something to protect and hold on to, and that is a dangerous way to go about your business. It's not really the Forest way. They're a very positive, attack-minded side, but it's understandable, I think, given the scenario here.
That's Adrian Clark, former Arsenal and Southend winger. You can hear alongside me Ian Dante here at the City Ground. You're listening to the EFL Championship Playoffs live on TalkSport with McDonald's Fun Football. Search McDonald's Fun Football to find out more. An hour gone in the East Midlands. Zinchenko for Forest, driving for the byline, and Forest now have won a corner at the Trent end. The first time they've got the fans on their feet away to our left-hand side.
Bit of respite, and it's Zinchenko who's had to do a lot of tracking back in this second half because Berger's been so influential. He's found himself coming back to make up a traditional midfield three. They need him on the ball in those pockets, really, Nottingham Forest. He's not done a lot of that this evening.
James Garner on loan from Manchester United at Forest for a second time. Has the corner at the Trent end where it meets the Peter Taylor. Just down to our left-hand side. Nobody at the near post for Forest. They're all at the far post. Now starting to make runs along the 6-yard line as it goes deep above the head of Steve Cook, who was the target, but it goes above everybody's head and drifts out for a Sheffield United throw-in left-hand side.
Yeah, I expected better from Garner there. There's only one player in the division that's created more chances from set pieces than him this season, so he's got a great record, and they've been particularly dangerous in the FA Cup. I remember they made hay, didn't they, against Leicester, I think it was, from corners. So they've got that in their armoury. But how often are they going to be in and around that final third in this second half? The pattern that we've seen since the resumption suggests it might not be too often.
Nottingham Forest 1, Sheffield United 1. 62 minutes gone. 3-2 on aggregate. Top 4, title, relegation, still things to be decided. And don't forget, Aston Villa Burnley on Thursday night. We've got that as an extra commentary for you on TalkSport. And of course, if Burnley succumb to Villa, then that makes their situation all the more precarious when they face Newcastle on final day, whilst Leeds, they go to Brentford. Now, 1-1 here. We played 18 and a half minutes of the second half. Sheffield United need one more goal to bring us level on aggregate. Forest trying to hold them out at the minute, because the second half, all the shots in on target have come from Sheffield United. 4, I think, and the one that mattered was the one that was on target from Morgan Gibbs-White to bring them level. And as they used to say on Stingray, anything can happen in the next half hour.
It sure can. And full credit to Sheffield United, because they didn't let their chins drop, did they? They could have easily felt sorry for themselves, but they didn't. They've come out with renewed purpose.
Well, Jed Spence trying to take the ball the other way for Nottingham Forest, gets into the area, but he had Jack Robinson and also Norrington Davis for company, and he clips the heels of Norrington Davis as he ran out to the far side, and it's been given as a free kick by Michael Oliver. The tension all around the stadium still really evident to me and to Adrian and to Hugh and our producer Jason alongside it. It's a close atmosphere. It's quite a humid night for late spring, early summer.
Yeah, I think we might see Keenan Davis pretty soon.
Well, he is one of those substitutes warming up down beneath us.
What he will do, he will be that outlet for them. You can knock the ball long into Keenan Davis and he will back into defenders and hold it up and run at them, and that might just allow Nottingham Forest to get out of their half.
25 minutes to go on TalkSport here at the City Ground. Nerve-shredding stuff in the playoffs, and I pity any supporter who is never going to experience what the playoffs are all about. You can have your Champions League finals, and yes, they're tense, but there is nothing like the playoffs for utter gut wrench. Here's Zinchenko for Forest, who are still a goal to the good. Tried to find Brendan Johnson down the right-hand side, but Jack Robinson intercepted. But brilliantly won back by Zinchenko down the right-hand side, and he's won a corner at the Trent end again. And the Forest fans in front of us rise to their feet for the Watford loanee for that industry he showed to win the ball back and force the corner.
That's brilliant. It really is from Philip Zinchenko. He's just injected fresh impetus into the whole stadium there by two really good pieces of play. He lost the ball, but then he sprinted to retrieve the loose one, and he goes and wins the corner, and all of a sudden the fans are right behind their boys again. It's so evenly poised here.
Just over a quarter of the game to go on Talk Sport. And Forest have a corner where the Trent end meets the Brian Clough stand. Away to our left-hand side, on the far side of the field. Garner with a right-footed delivery. Headed down and it bounces comfortably for Fotheringham, who can just run out and claim it. And then fires an early ball, trying to get Morgan Gibbs-White away down the left-hand side. He's taking Cole back out there with him. And he's held on to the ball superbly. Gibbs-White tries to burst between two defenders and wins a throw. That's just what Paul Heckingbottom and Stuart McCall would have wanted him to do.
Look, that won't get any headlines, but that's a brilliant piece of football. Just great awareness from the goalkeeper to just volley kick it to Morgan Gibbs-White, who does a great job of holding the ball up and winning a throw for his side in, well, level with the 18-yard box. That's pre-planned as well, because they will have said they put so many players forward for corners. If you come and claim it, bang it long to Morgan Gibbs-White to hold it up, and that's exactly what they did there.
Long throw from the far side from Jack Robinson again for Sheffield United, level with the Forest box, hurled into the near post. Forest heads get it clear, nodded back to the edge of the box, brought down to the edge of the area by Egan, felt he was being pushed, but Michael Oliver was in no way interested in giving a penalty or a free kick, because it was right on the 18-yard line that Egan went down. Ball's been cleared downfield down the Sheffield United left, and Joe Worrell keeps the ball away from Iliman Ndiaye, gives it back to his keeper Samba, and a left-footed clearance just when it looked like for a moment Ndiaye was closing him down.
Yeah, I think they need Keenan Davis on now, just that outlet for them. I think Surridge gets through so much work in the industry, does the running of two players sometimes, but they need something new up top. You can't take Brennan Johnson off.
Forest 3-2 up on aggregate, 1-1 on the night, but they're under pressure from Sheffield United. Gibbs-White went for goal from fully 35 yards. It was blocked by Scott McKenna. Comes back out to Sheffield United, and they send it to this near side of right, and Sander Berger getting to the right-hand corner of the Forest box. He just lays it off to Ollie Norwood. Norwood tries to release Basham down the right-hand side with one of those runs he loves to make forward from centre-half, but it's overhit. There is going to be a Forest change, but it's not going to be Keenan Davis at this point, Adrian Clark.
It's not, it's going to be Joe Lolly, and he earns the right to be first sub because of his contribution in that first leg where he robbed John Egan with a great piece of pressing, and he was lively in that game off the bench. So I understand the change. I would imagine it's for Zinkernagel, but if it's a cautious move from Steve Cooper, it will be for Surridge, where they'll maybe go with two guys in behind the one striker. So this will be fascinating to see which direction they take here, Nottingham Forest.
Lolly will have to wait because they've elected to take the goal kick downfield. Nottingham Forest now has been nodded out of play. Is this the cue for the substitution? And Adrian Clark is Nostradamus, he's got it right. Zinkernagel, your first choice, is the one that's coming off to be replaced by Joe Lolly.
Yeah, well, that's a like-for-like change. So it means that Nottingham Forest will continue to do or play in the same way that they've attempted to do. Zinkernagel was great, I thought, in the first leg. Less influential here at the City Ground tonight, but he's getting a fantastic ovation, isn't he?
So he's done a good job on loan from Watford.
Excellent loan spell.
Half a dozen goals and 7 assists in the Championship. Zinkernagel comes off for Joe Lolly. 20 minutes to go, 1-1 on the night, 3-2 to Nottingham Forest. All the reaction tonight on the Sports Bar to this and Liverpool. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy taking your calls after we're done here at the City Ground. 03717, went a bit old school there, 03717 223344. And then in the morning, Laura Woods, Ali McCoist in Seville, and Gabby Agbonlahor joining in on TalkSport Breakfast from 6 a.m. in the morning. TalkSport Breakfast sets you up for the day with all the sporting stories, and Ali, of course, will be completely like a cat on a hot tin roof, waiting for Rangers to play Eintracht Frankfurt tomorrow night live on TalkSport.
He hot-footed it to the airport, didn't he, mid-show this morning? So he had his summer holiday gear on, I saw. Nice little hat. He'll be enjoying himself, no doubt.
No one's enjoying themselves here. Well, not really, because the tension's still hugely apparent around the City Ground. 26 minutes gone in the second half. It's 1-1 on the night, but that's good enough for Steve Cooper and Nottingham Forest to reach their first ever playoff final. James Garner rolls the ball down the right-hand side for Brennan Johnson. Lolly, who's just come on, is showing for him down the touchline, but Johnson's pass is toe poked out of play by Jack Robinson. Here's Adrian Clark.
Yeah, what Joe Lolly will do, maybe that Zinchenko doesn't, is make those runs in beyond. Zinchenko is a player that likes to come short, get the ball to feet and be busy and creative. Joe Lolly can do that, but he's also got that speed, that acceleration to make runs in beyond the main strikers. And as we've seen tonight, they're kind of split strikers, aren't they, with Surridge and Johnson. They play quite wide, and they need to watch out, I think, Sheffield United, for Lolly making those bursts in between.
Basham just hits a long, hopeful ball downfield for Sheffield United. It'll drift out of play. Now Keenan Davis is getting stripped and ready for action for Nottingham Forest, the Villa loanee, who got a little cameo on Saturday, coming on as a substitute when Nottingham Forest at the time were protecting a 2-0 lead. He's going to get a little bit longer tonight. He's going to get just over a quarter of an hour to try and help Forest see this game out. Now it's just a question of who he's replacing Adrian Clark.
Yeah, sticking the old gloves on. We're in May now, aren't we? It's not cold tonight.
No, it's not.
Come on, Keenan.
It's practically shirt sleeve order. That's old habits die hard, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever works for him. But it just looks wrong, doesn't it? Big, tough, rough centre forward with gloves on a balmy May evening.
Do you know what? You tell him. I'm not going to tell him.
Telling him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm on safe territory up here. But he's a good player.
Chicken.
Yeah, definitely. But no, he's a good player, and he could make a difference here. He's somebody that those Sheffield United centre halves won't relish marking in these final stages.
We're still waiting to see what Paul Heckingbottom might do from the bench, because Sheffield United still need a goal here to force extra time, and they're going to get increasingly desperate, I'm sure. We're edging round towards the last 15 minutes of the 90 on TalkSport this Tuesday night in the EFL Championship playoffs. 1-1 between Nottingham Forest and Sheffield United. 3-2 on aggregate to the side from the East Midlands, and they're in possession, Forest, just inside the Sheffield United half. Work back into their own half for Steve Cook, who wasn't expecting the ball to come to him, I don't think. Hesitated, but then clipped the ball down the right-hand side, but straight down the throat of Jack Robinson. Turns the ball in field. Asked a lot of Ollie Norwood, but he did well there, Norwood. Turned away from trouble, and Sheffield United roll the ball up to Iliman Ndiaye on halfway. Still Keenan Davis waits to be introduced for Nottingham Forest. Now Ndiaye looks to release George Baldock down the right-hand side. Baldock gets into the area, being faced up by Colback, goes on the outside of him, crosses it in, it's all square! Time at the City Ground. George Baldock got away down the right-hand side, squared it across, and from close range, John Fleck poked it home. It is 3-3 on aggregate. Sheffield United lead 2-1 on the night on TalkSport. What a game!
That is sensational from Sheffield United, and George Baldock take a bow, because he has twisted and turned his man inside out. He gets to the byline, slips it along the 6-yard box, and Fleck taps it in. They have been magnificent since half-time, the Blades, and you can't say they don't deserve it.
Quarter of an hour to go. All square on aggregate. It's 2-1 to Sheffield United on the night. TalkSport in the playoffs. No better place to be. Keenan Davis is on. I'm trying to see who he came on for. I think it was Surridge, wasn't it? He came on for, because Brennan Johnson's still out there.
Oh, everyone's stunned. This is like history repeating itself for Nottingham Forest fans. You know, blow-ups in playoff semi-finals here at the City Ground.
I was here for the game against Yeovil in the League One playoffs when Russell Slade's men won in extra time. I was here when Ian Holloway's Blackpool also triumphed. 19 years ago, these two teams met in the playoffs, but the fixtures were reversed, and Sheffield United won in extra time that night at Bramall Lane. Paul Pesky-Solido with a dramatic late goal for the Blades. But can Forest respond? They've been pegged back here. And now they've conceded a free kick as Keenan Davis goes in too strongly on Norwood. And this is set up for a grandstand finish on TalkSport. 3-3 on aggregate. I wouldn't dare predict where this game's going to go next.
Well, the pendulum has swung. Sheffield United look the better team right now. Nottingham Forest have been really poor. in the second half. Their passing, their distribution has been scrappy. They've been riddled with nerves and they haven't defended well.
Long ball up to the Forest area, headed clear by McKenna, but Sheffield United have it back. Morgan Gibbs-White into the box and he touches it over the bar, tried to control it on the half volley as it was a swing across to the left-hand corner of the 6-yard box, and he's slapping his thigh. He's really unhappy. He doesn't think he was able to keep it down enough, and it's gone over the bar for a goal kick. So Brice Samba at the edge of his 6-yard box, looking for an option, clips it out to Scott McKenna, and McKenna will drive it up to the halfway line for Davis, but Davis can't get the better of Chris Basham. Ricochets in field, and Forest have it back with James Garner. Garner now finds Joe Worrell out to Spence on the right hand side for Nottingham Forest. Right hand corner of the box, drives on the outside of Norrington Davis, cross into the near post, is volleyed out of play by Jack Robinson for a throw to Nottingham Forest, pushing towards the Trent end. Can they go back in front?
Well, we haven't seen a lot of Jed Spence tonight, have we? Inside the final third, driving past his man, did it there. That was a dangerous ball, well defended by Robinson. 12 minutes to go of normal time. We're heading for extra time as things stand, because it's a 2-on advantage. The ball's been passed back wide of the post by a Forest defender. It was Steve Cook who, under pressure from Gibbs-White, almost put the ball into his own net. Samba way out of his ground, and the silence around the City ground is quite obvious. It ends up being a corner to Sheffield United at the Bridgeford end. My word, they have got the home side rattled here. They really have. That would have been just a disastrous own goal. He's about 30 yards out. It's a horrible back pass from Cook, straight past his own keeper. It's almost hit the side netting. It's far away.
So it's Norwood with the corner kick onto the 6-yard line, headed out by Forest to the edge of the area. Fleck doesn't know where the ball is, but it's retrieved on this near side. Sander Berger picks it up just down beneath us to our right hand side us there, attacking the Bridgeford end in this second half. Sheffield United 2-1 up, 3-3 on aggregate. Extra time looming on TalkSport, but Berger goes to the byline, pulls the ball back to the near post, and Colback gets it half clear. Garner can only head it into the path of John Fleck, and Sheffield United have it back again. Now Chris Basham for the Blades, looks for Ollie Norwood, hits a deep ball into the area but way beyond Morgan Gibbs-White, but he's gamely giving chase as it dribbles out to the far touchline. Spence watches him, and Morgan Gibbs-White has forced a throw off Jed Spence down by the corner flag. 3-3 on aggregate.
The belief is there for the Blades, no doubt about it. You can see the fans in the corner, they're on their feet. They sense they have Forest. They have them where they want them right now. They're looking to land a knockout blow here, Sheffield United.
Short throw finds Gibbs-White, who brings the ball down as best he can. Left-hand corner of the penalty area, deep to the far post, and it's claimed on the goal line by Brice Samba. And Forest fans breathe again. 3-3. Keenan Davis coming forward for the hosts. Good barrelling run from Keenan Davis away from Basham. He's trying to get back at him. Now he's down the left-hand side of the area, Davis. Can he wrap his foot round the cross? He can. Deflected up in the air. Headed clear by Robinson. The Forest trying to win the ball back with Ryan Yates. Yates wins a corner off George Ballock at the Trent end, and the volume goes up again inside the City ground. Wow. 3-3 on aggregate.
Celebrate that corner like a goal. The Forest fans, what can they do here? What they do for a second goal here, just to ease the tension around the stadium.
So the corner going to be spotted down by James Garner again, just down to our left where the Trent end meets the Peter Taylor stand that we're sat in on this sultry Tuesday evening in the East Midlands. 3-3 on aggregate. Forest corner. In it comes from Garner, right-footed into the near post and turned behind for a goal kick. It was actually Joe Worrell who thought it was a corner, but he got the crucial touch, says Michael Oliver. So 10 minutes to go. 2-1 to Sheffield United on the night, making it 3-3 on aggregate. This is where I ask Adrian Clark, my pundit, where this is going to go. That's an unfair question. I can't do that.
Well, look, based on the balance of what we've seen since half-time, you'd make Sheffield United favourites. You would have to. But this is Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have scored goals all season. Second top scorers in the Championship behind Fulham. They have it within their capability, the home side, to get one here. But they need to relax. to a degree, I think, Nottingham Forest. They've been so uptight.
Just over 29,000 packed into the City Ground tonight. As West Foderingham of Sheffield United, their goalkeeper, clips the ball downfield. Headed back by McKenna, but only as far as Basham, just inside his own half, and Bulldogs want to throw off Colback down on this near touchline, and Steve Cooper wisely decides to leave the ball alone after what Paul Heckingbottom, his opposite number, did in the first half, shoving the ball into the stomach of Jed Spence, that led to the Sheffield United manager getting a yellow card.
Yeah, that was a crazy incident, wasn't it? But we talked at half-time with Hugh, didn't we? He said, surely they'll throw on another attacker. I wasn't so sure they would, and they didn't, did they? They kept the powder dry, trusted the system, trusted the guys that were out there, and they have delivered.
Well, they've got youngsters on the bench. Will Asula and Daniel Jefferson are teenagers.
Yeah, they're struggling. McBurney's out, Brewster's out, Sharp's out.
McGoldrick has now left the club. He was injured too.
Yeah.
So he was down to the last possible pairing he felt he could make use of in recent weeks, Paul Heckingbottom. But Njai and Gibbs-White have dovetailed very, very well for Sheffield United in recent times. But then so too have Johnson and Surridge for Forest, but they are no longer together up front. Davis is now up front for the home side, alongside top scorer Johnson. Ball's out of play for a throw on this near side, bang on halfway for Nottingham Forest. 7 minutes of normal time to go on TalkSport. Nottingham Forest 1, Sheffield United 2, here on TalkSport at the City Ground. Adrian Clark alongside me, Ian Danter. And Sheffield United try and work the ball forward. Volleyed away at the back by Steve Cook. Such a vastly experienced EFL campaigner, the former Bournemouth man, brought in by Steve Cook in the January window. It's rolled back to West Foderingham. And Foderingham drives the ball down this near side for George Baldock, who tried to head the ball down the right hand side, asking Berger to run onto it, but he didn't get enough purchase on the header, and Forest have a throw. 6 minutes of normal time left. Samba has the ball thrown back to him by Scott McKenna, and he did well to deal with it, because Gibbs-White again was closing down on the Forest keeper. Good ball in field from Lolly to find Keenan Davis, midway point of the Sheffield United half, but the ball ricochets away from him. Sheffield United get the ball up to halfway. McKenna heads it back down the left hand side, asking Lolly to give chase, but Basham clears the ball over his own head. Ball breaks for Jack Colback, tries to work it in field, but Baldock, back in the Sheffield United side tonight, wins it back. Strong header from Steve Cook down the left hand side. It's a little bit of head tennis and scrapping for possession. Now Keenan Davis shows great strength to get down the left hand side of the area, drives it across, looking for the effort of Johnson. It deflects over the bar for a corner kick to Nottingham Forest with 5 minutes of normal time to go. All square at 3-3 on aggregate here on TalkSport.
Really strong play, wasn't it, from Keenan Davis? He just brushed off his marker. Get off. He went tumbling to the deck. It was a decent ball into the box. There were appeals for a penalty, for a foul on Lolly inside the danger zone. Michael Oliver not interested, but they do have a corner.
And Lolly's come across to take it again, where the Peter Taylor meets the Trent end to our left. A left-footed outswinger to come then from the Forest number 23. In it comes onto around the penalty spot. Cook gets his head on it, but heads it over the crossbar, and Foderingham knew it was nowhere near going to be on target. So Sheffield United have a goal kick. The seconds tick us closer to an extra half hour here on TalkSport. 3-3 on aggregate.
Yeah, is there an acceptance from both sides that this might need to go to extra time now? We might get to that point in the next couple of minutes. It just feels a little slight lull, doesn't there, around the City Ground. I think everyone's just bracing themselves for the extra 30, and maybe even penalty kicks. I'm not sure the fans inside this ground could handle that. They're really living on the edge tonight.
And a poor header from Egan allows Keenan Davis to win the ball back, getting to the edge of the area for Forest. His shot is blocked though, and Jack Robinson there in the nick of time, but Forest have it back. Garner finds Spence right hand side, cross into the box, and then headed over. And it's a goal kick to Sheffield United. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy could be doing much shorter hours in a little while. Probably getting paid the same. The sports bar does follow this commentary, but it's 2-1 on the night to Sheffield United, meaning 3-3 on aggregate, means extra time looms here in the East Midlands.
Full credit to Sheffield United for sticking at it, believing that they could score 2 goals in the second half. As I said earlier, they've only got 1 away win to a top 10 side this season. They knew they needed that tonight. They needed a win in the 90. And as it stands, they're going to get it.
Extra time just around the corner, but hang on, here comes Sheffield United down the right hand side of the box with Sander Berge across the face of goal, well cleared by Joe Worrell because Gibbs White was lurking just behind him, but Baldock picks up the loose ball for the Blades. Berge, right hand corner of the box, drops his shoulder, finds Baldock inside the area who's offside, and Forest get a free kick with 2.5 minutes of normal time to go on Talk Sport. 3-3 on aggregate.
Sheffield United have really targeted Nottingham Forest left-hand side in this second period.
In the same way that Forest targeted Sheffield United in the first game.
Exactly. And it makes sense because Jack Colback is a midfielder by trade. He's filling in at left-back at the moment because Max Lowe, the first choice, is out injured. And Baldock has certainly got the better of him, but it's Sander Berge's positioning since half-time that's made the difference. He's pulled out to the right-hand side for fun and created 2v1 situations.
Forest coming forward with Lolly, almost took it beyond Jack Robinson from a central, Basham rather, from a central position, but Basham has now made a full 40-yard run forward, flicks it to his right for Morgan Gibbs-White as Sheffield United drive the ball into the area. Good clearance from Jed Spence for Nottingham Forest, and it drops on halfway, 3-on-3. Forest trying to break, Lolly trying to get onto the loose ball, but Egan, the Sheffield United captain, gets there first.
Such a bad pass from Keenan Davis. It was a 3v2.
Here comes George Baldock for Sheffield United, end-to-end stuff up to the edge of the D. He's dispossessed, but Njaye is dispossessed then by Keenan Davis. Garner rolls it down this near touchline. Lolly keeps it in play on the halfway line. Looked to fire it downfield for Brennan Johnson, but it was blocked at source by John Egan. And then Gibbs White passes it straight out of play when he was looking for Sander Berge. Last minute of the 90. 2-1 to Sheffield United on the night. 3-3 on aggregate on Talk Sport in the playoffs.
Morgan Gibbs-White's not a kick last 20 minutes, has he? The main man for Nottingham Forest. They just haven't been able to give him any ammunition at all.
We're about to find out from Graham Scott, the fourth official, how much added time we'll have at the end of the 90, with the prospect of extra time in this Championship playoff semi-final. Huddersfield Town still don't know who their Wembley opponents will be on Sunday, May the 29th, live on Talk Sport to round off the domestic season. Long ball downfield from Norwood's way over here, just bounces through to Samba, and then Worrell loses out on halfway, and as we head into added time, Norrington Davis is caught by Worrell, and that's going to be a yellow card. Only 2 minutes of additional time at the end of the 90 here for this second half, and Sheffield United have a free kick just over halfway on the far side of the field. Adrian Clark.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how many men they commit forward for this free kick. Are they going to settle for extra time, for what they've got, or are the big men going to pile into the opposition danger zone as they have done throughout this match? The answer is the latter. They're going for it, Sheffield United here.
Piling plenty forward, a diagonal free kick sent into the edge of the area. Good strong header clear for Forest by Steve Cook. Helped further clear, but only as far as Ollie Norwood. Little ball into Morgan Gibbs-White, approaching the area, checking onto his right foot, trying to get a shot away. It's blocked. Keenan Davis tries to hold on to the ball. Lovely turn, great strength from the Aston Villa loanee, and then bunny hops over the attempted challenge of John Fleck. Lays it off for Jack Colback. Colback finds Ryan Yates on halfway, being pressurised by Njaye. Pressurised too much, says the referee. We're dealing in the last few seconds of added time at the end of 90 minutes, with extra time just around the corner on Talk Sport. Nottingham Forest 1, Sheffield United 2 on the night, but crucially 3-3 on aggregate. Liverpool are set to take all 3 points from Southampton. We'll check in there with Ian Abraham shortly. Meantime, what have Forest got left in these last seconds of added time? Ball cleared away by John Egan. for Sheffield United, only as far as Yates. Yates making room 30 yards out, teases it out to the right hand side, clips into the box, and it almost dropped for Lolly. Davis holds it up at the edge of the area, lays it up for Garner, deflected and wide for a corner kick.
It's a whisker away, isn't it? Garner has his head in his hands. It took a little nick off a Sheffield United defender. It's out for a corner.
Corner kick for Nottingham Forest at the Trent end. It's going to be a left-footed in swinger from that far side of the field. In it goes to the near post. Davies can't get a piece of it. Out for another throw, and there goes the full-time whistle on Talk Sport. So we have to have another 30 minutes at least to see whether we can get a winner in this Championship playoff semi-final, Adrian Clark, because 2-1 to Sheffield United, Gibbs White early in the second half, and then John Fleck bringing them level for 3-3, and Steve Cooper and Paul Heckingbottom have now got a lot of talking to do to their teams.
They've got to regroup, haven't they, Nottingham Forest? Steve Cooper has got to get some wise words into his players, because they had a really disappointing second period, didn't they? Their distribution was poor, they were rattled, they were edgy. It was all Sheffield United, and they thoroughly deserved to score 2 goals in that second half, the Blades. And yet, over the course of these 2 legs, even though Forest wasted a lot of chances at Bramall Lane, you can't say that Sheffield United don't deserve to take this to a final 30-minute shootout, and maybe even penalty kicks.
Thanks, Hugh. Well, all the players here are now just massing around the halfway line. We're about to get things back underway for extra time here on Talk Sport. 3-3. I'm looking to see if there's any changes at the start of extra time. I don't see anything being planned by either Steve Cooper or Paul Heckingbottom. Heckingbottom just walking off the pitch, having had a final word with George Baldock and Morgan Gibbs-White. Morgan Gibbs-White, who brought Sheffield United back into the tie at the start of the second half, and then John Fleck added to it. Little handshake between the 2 captains, John Egan and Joe Worrell, to decide the ends to which these 2 teams will be attacking in extra time, to decide who plays Huddersfield, and penalties, of course. Now we get into extra time. That becomes another option, Adrian Clark.
All those training sessions, all those matches since last summer, and it boils down to the next 30 minutes or so, doesn't it? It's incredible, really. And Forest have to regroup. They have to gather themselves mentally, because they had 1 foot at Wembley, and it was snatched away from them by a brilliant second half performance from Sheffield United. But they have to go again, the home side.
Well, it's the way Forest would want it, I think, because they're attacking the Bridgeford end in this first period of extra time in their red shirts and socks with the white shorts. Sheffield United in all black chain strip tonight, and they will have the honour, the Blades, at the start of extra time. Another half an hour then to come on Talk Sport, at least, to try and uncover who will face Huddersfield Town on Sunday the 29th of May for the right to play in the Premier League next season. And a reminder, Sheffield United, as they get play underway by just firing the ball past Bruce Samba's goal and out for a goal kick. That's the strangest kick-off I've ever seen, Adrian Clark.
Just whacked it. It was bizarre.
Ollie Norb, was he going for goal there, Ollie
He
Norb?
probably was, but it was nowhere near, was it? Interesting, isn't it, that Sheffield United, no substitutions in the game so far. Paul Heckingbottom very happy, clearly, with the guys that he selected from the off, and he was right to trust them, wasn't he, in that second period?
Ball flicked on by Iliman Ndiaye, and Morgan Gibbs-White moving down the inside left channel, finds Norrington Davis. Does he inside the box? No, he's overhit the pass, and Ndiaye's gone down off the ball inside the area after a collision with Steve Cook, and the upshot of that is it will be a goal kick to Nottingham Forest. Samba the keeper, Worrell, Cook and McKenna at the back, Spence, Yates, Garner and Cole back in midfield. Lolly, Johnson and Davis now are the front 3 for Nottingham Forest. And at the back, Wes Fotheringham is the Sheffield United keeper. Basham, Egan and Robertson there centre halves. Bulldog, Norwood, Fleck and Norrington Davis in midfield. Berger behind Gibbs White and Njai as their front two. And here is Sander Berger, who set up the early goal in the second half that got Sheffield United a foothold in this playoff. And you can, the silence around the City ground now, everyone's just trying to take stock of what's happened in the last 45 minutes.
That's exactly what's happening, Dan. Yeah, it was so noisy, so fervent, such an excited atmosphere for so long, and they've just put a pin in it, haven't they, Sheffield United?
Well, Ndiaye is onside as he makes a run into the area, fires it into the near post, and that's well held at his near post by Brice Samba. Flag stayed down on the far side, and Ndiaye running down the right hand side of the box just chanced his arm.
They've been good tonight, haven't they? And Jay and Gibbs White, really, really sharp. They're not natural centre forwards, but they're having to do that job for the team, and they've given a very, very good back three here at Nottingham Forest. A really challenging evening, and I think there might be one or two twists to come across the next 30 minutes or so, but yeah, it's a real lull in atmosphere.
Well, they've been on a winning streak here at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest, 22 goals in recent times at the City Ground. But they were 4 without a clean sheet going into tonight. And yet again, they've allowed a team to score not once in this instance, but twice.
Yep. Well, they have scored twice or more in 21 of 39 games under Steve Cooper, so they're used to scoring multiple times. Why that's interesting is that under Chris Hughton, 1 in 25 games, the final 25 games of his regime, they went more than one goal just once.
James Garner pushing in field for Nottingham Forest as they attack the Bridgeford end. Lolly on as a second half substitute, finds Spence inside the box, right hand corner, thinks about driving it across, but he's held up by Norrington Davis, rolls it back to the edge of the area. Lolly thought he had a chance to take a touch and then take a shot, but back came Morgan Gibbs White. Oh no, it was Iliman Ndiaye, forgive me, who stuck a foot in and showed great industry on behalf of the Blades, and now Sheffield United have a throw. Yeah, 3-3 on aggregate.
Young legs, you see, Iliman Ndiaye back on the edge of his own box, but as it was an outstanding defensive tackle. We've seen Forest do it. Keenan Davis has been back there just before the end of regulation time to do some really vital pieces of defending too. Everybody putting in a shift, but the quality of the game is a little bit all over the place at the moment. It's very, very scrappy.
3 minutes gone in extra time. Still 3-3 on aggregate because Sheffield United are 2-1 up on the night, and they've been awarded a free kick by Michael Oliver. No Billy Sharp on the bench for the Blades, remember. They were hoping to patch him up and get him involved somehow, their talisman, but he's not around. So youngsters Will Asula and Daniel Jebison are the striking options that Paul Heckingbottom has at his disposal tonight. Davis already on as a striking change for Nottingham Forest, flicks the ball on, but nobody making the run beyond him. But then Egan just whacks the ball downfield. It bounces once and straight through to Brice Samba. It's nervous from both teams out there at the minute.
Yeah, it's nervy, but also I think the players look fatigued now. This was a seriously high-tempo game, wasn't it, for so long, and it feels like they've hit a little bit of a brick wall. And Sheffield United's players, they must be struggling a bit because they've got the original 11 from kick-off. Forest have pepped things up with Lolly, with Keenan Davis.
Sports Bar after this commentary with Jamie and Jason. Liverpool have won tonight, so it goes to the final day in the Premier League for the title. Johnson for Nottingham Forest, into the area for Davis at the near post, and it's held at the near post by Figueiredo. Davis just got across Basham for a moment, trying to force it in, but it was straight at Wes Fotheringham, the Sheffield United keeper. 3-3 on aggregate, it stays on Talk Sport in the EFL Championship playoffs.
Half a chance, wasn't it, for Nottingham Forest? Keenan Davis, so strong, so powerful, got himself in front of his marker, but the connection was a weak one, and it was a pretty simple save for Fotheringham. But it was good to see Brennan Johnson come alive there on the right-hand side and make a contribution, because he's been so quiet the last half an hour of this match.
Adrian Clark alongside me, Ian Danter and Hugh Rosencroft here at the City Ground. You're listening to the EFL Championship live on Talk Sport with McDonald's Fun Football. Search McDonald's Fun Football to find out more. And Sheffield United have been awarded a throw on the far side of the field from us on the Brian Clough stand side, which George Baldock is preparing to take. Gibbs White floating down that far touchline. It's headed in his direction by Njai, but he won't be able to get the ball by getting round Scott McKenna, because the former Aberdeen centre-half makes like a slab of granite and makes it impossible for Gibbs White to get round him. Sent out to Jed Spence as Nottingham Forest try and build inside their own half. Great challenge by Ollie Norwood to dispossess Lolly, and now Sander Berger for Sheffield United. He finds Gibbs White. Gibbs White's got Baldock making strides on the outside of him into the area, wins a corner off Jack Colback, and Sheffield United are pushing again, this time at the Trent end. 3-2 on aggregate. They've got a corner on TalkSport.
The central midfield of Sheffield United from half-time onwards has been a different animal. Norwood, Fleck, Berger, they've dominated, haven't they, inside the heart of that injury, and it's laid the platform for this comeback. All three of them combined really nicely. Fed Baldock, just won his side a corner. That assist from Baldock was fantastic earlier on in the game.
7 gone in extra time. Fleck with a corner for Sheffield United, deep to the far post beyond Berger, and an ambitious header from Jack Robinson, but he couldn't get it anywhere near goalwards, and it bounces behind for a goal kick, and Brice Samba quickly retrieves the ball and takes a short goal kick to Worrell, who feeds it to Jed Spence on this near side, who can gallop towards the halfway line past his manager Steve Cooper, then rolls it backwards a square to his captain Worrell. Need ball in field for Yates. He in turn lays it off to Steve Cook halfway through the first half of extra time on TalkSport. Still Sheffield United 2-1 up on the night, meaning it's 3-3 on aggregate. You can't split them. Worrell trying to get the ball past Njai. It's a throw in on this near side for Jed Spence, who keeps his distance from Paul Heckinbottom this time after all the shenanigans of the first half. In case you missed that, Paul Heckinbottom was yellow carded for throwing the ball into the stomach of Jed Spence, irritated that the Forest right wing back was, in his opinion, taking too long over getting a throw back into play.
Yeah. Good job, Spence. He's got a six-pack, that's all I say. Yeah. In fairness to Spence, he laughed it off. I saw the replay at half-time, and he actually just smiled about it as the sort of carnage ensued around him, with everyone getting involved, having a bit of a tear-up.
If he'd done that to me, the ball would have bounced out the stadium. 3-3 on aggregate. Forest coming forward with 8.5 minutes of extra time gone. Cook trying to fire it into the path of Joe Lolly, who did his best to try and control it, but the ball has gone over the dead ball line, and Sheffield United have a goal kick. Remember, their win at QPR was their only win in 7 away trips towards the end of the season for the Blades. Yeah. They really were, and they were behind in that game at QPR on a Friday night. It was live on TalkSport 2, and my word, how they grappled and fought their way back into the game. They've got that 3-1 win, and that's what's helped them get into this playoff pack, and now they're level with Nottingham Forest in extra time at the City Ground with just over 5 minutes of the first period of extra time to play.
They were brave in that game at QPR. They were bold. They were committed to winning the game, and that's what they knew they had to do here tonight. And I've loved their attitude, Sheffield United. They didn't let that opening goal from Brennan Johnson derail them. They regrouped and they came back. Probably one of their best 45-minute performances of the season, especially away from Bramall Lane. And now we're even Stevens. It's been a remarkable match. We did say earlier on that Forest hadn't beaten anyone inside the top 10 or the top 9 at home this season, and so it's proved again. That's been their Achilles heel. Their best performances have kind of been on the road.
They've lost here to Bournemouth, Blackburn, Cardiff, Middlesbrough, Fulham and Huddersfield, all though in 2021. Most of those in the Chris Hughton days before Steve Cooper arrived. They've not lost at home in this calendar year, and they're behind at the moment, but they've won themselves a free kick down the left-hand side. 3-3 in aggregate. Laura Woods, Alan McCoy's live from Spain, and Gabby Egbon-Lahore in the studio. TalkSport breakfast from 6 a.m. in the morning, building up to the Europa League final tomorrow night. on TalkSport. Rangers against Eintracht Frankfurt. Adrian Durham's already out there. So too Jim Proudfoot and former Rangers midfielder Charlie Adam. And we'll bring you live commentary of that game. Our coverage starts inside the stadium from 7 p.m. Meantime, Adrian's off to Sixfields for Northampton against Mansfield in the League 2 playoff semi-final second leg, with Mansfield taking a 2-1 leg away to Northamptonshire. Joe Shannon will be your commentator for that one on TalkSport 2. Free kick's been awarded to Nottingham Forest. Michael Oliver spotted an infringement. Little clip on the heels of James Garner. So, interesting position for this free kick, just beyond the midway point of the half, and a chance to work the ball into the Sheffield United box at the Bridgeford end away to our right. 3-3 on aggregate.
This is a really good position for a free kick. They're just leaving two players back. Forest, Jed Spence.
It's the same position as Sorba Thomas had last night.
Yeah, exactly.
To win the game for Huddersfield against Luton.
What a delivery that was. Aimed towards the far post. Tucked home beautifully, I have to say, by Jordan Rhodes. What can Forest do here?
Garner raises both arms. It's a dinked ball to the far post over the head of Scott McKenna, who tried to head it back from whence it came. He's now dashed out to the corner flag, but he's shoved into the Sheffield United defender, Jack Robinson, but they're both embraced. That's nice to see, and they just get on with it. That was just 50-50 challenge. Neither got anything on it. No silly afters, and we can restart with a Sheffield United free kick.
Yeah, what the difference between that free kick and the Sorba Thomas one from last night? Sorba Thomas had whip on it. He really played in it at pace. This was more of a backspinner, wasn't it, towards the far stick. Didn't really have enough pace on it, and the chance slipped by. But yeah, at least Forest have gained a bit more territory in the first half of this extra time, playing on as much on the front foot as they can.
No chances in this extra time period for either side, really. It's been very, very tense on TalkSport. So much at stake, of course. I don't even know how much it costs these days, because it goes up by about 10 million quid every year, the playoff final, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When Marriott went up in 2002, it was known as the £45 million game. That's cheap now.
Yeah.
Now Sheffield United down the left-hand side of the box. Njai plays it back across the face of goal, and Samba, the Forest keeper, plunged on top of the ball with Gibbs White closing in on him. 2 minutes to half-time in extra time on TalkSport.
It's like a bar of soap, though, wasn't it? I mean, it was a bit slippy, that ball, as it came into the box. And I thought for a second that Samba might spill it, but he didn't.
Here's Keenan Davis working the ball into the Sheffield United half of Forest. Joe Lolly goes down. He's won a free kick. It's only just inside the Sheffield United half, but maybe another chance to work the ball up to the edge of the area. See how deep Sheffield United are going to defend this. Their line is currently about 25 yards out, just ahead of the edge of the D. And it will be rolled back instead, back into the Forest half for Steve Cook. Rolls it square to his right for Joe Worrell. Further out to this near side, and Jed Spence, but a heavy touch allows Norrington Davis to force him back into his own half, Spence. Now it goes down the right-hand side, and Brendan Johnson can't get a piece of it. Norrington Davis nods it infield. Gibbs White went for a ball and has stayed down, nursing some kind of injury. And Michael Oliver has said to Forrest, put the ball out of play so that the young Wolves loanee can get some treatment here. TalkSport in the playoffs. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy have got their feet up at the minute, because they're not on air with a sports mark, as we are, to the conclusion of this playoff semi-final. And we're going to have a bit of added time in the first half of extra time, with a score at 3-3 on aggregate.
Yeah, the two teams look knackered, don't they? Really, really slow pace to this extra time.
Well, some of the players have come over to this near touchline to take on some fluids and just have a word with their respective coaches. In fact, Steve Cooper's keeping his distance from players like Spence and Worrell, not trying to flood them with too much information. They're just taking on some fluids. And Gibbs White has been led to this near touchline. So we've had the first 15 minutes. Graham Scott hasn't held up the board, because he doesn't have the board in his hand. He's been too busy directing operations. And Gibbs White is being allowed to come back on, so we're into added time in the first half of extra time. On TalkSport, 3-3 on aggregate. Forest and Sheffield United locked together. Now Steve Cook with a lovely dong and the ball finds Colback, left-hand side, he's won a corner. Is it going to be time to take it? No. Michael Oliver blows the half-time whistle. Frustration for the Forest fans. It's going to be another 15 minutes. The scores are level at half-time. It's Nottingham Forest 1, Sheffield United 2, 3-3 on aggregate. Thanks, Hugh. Back underway here at the City Ground with Forest in their red shirts and socks. White shorts heading for the Trent end in this second half of extra time. Sheffield United in all black tonight. They're heading for the Bridgeford end where their fans are. And still no further changes made by either manager, so Sheffield United are sticking with the same 11 that started the night, Adrian.
Yeah, it's very unusual, isn't it, for a head coach not to make any changes at this stage, but he's obviously delighted with the 11 that started the match. And as we've rightly pointed out,
Joe Lolly's won the ball in the Sheffield United half, rolls in Brennan Johnson. Johnson back for Joe Lolly. Oh, he couldn't get the purchase on the shot, and it just dribbled through for the goalkeeper, Wes Foderingham, to hold on to. Massive chance at the start of the second period of extra time for Nottingham Forest, but they don't take it.
What an opportunity for Nottingham Forest. They come alive as they do. Brennan Johnson, he slips it back infield to Joe Lolly, and he slips, doesn't he, at the crucial moment. Poor contact on the ball. It just dribbles into Wes Foderingham's arms.
Forest coming again then with Jed Spence down the right-hand side for Nottingham Forest. Into the box. Johnson on the volley straight at Foderingham. Lovely contact from Brennan Johnson, but it was straight down the throat of the Sheffield United keeper. But early intent in the second half of extra time from the hosts. It stays 3-3 on aggregate.
Great technique, wasn't it, from Brennan Johnson? The ball's whipped in, and he doesn't hesitate. Hits it first time on the volley. It's a decent enough connection. Unfortunately for Johnson and Forest, it's straight down the throat of Foderingham, and finally we're going to see a change.
Yeah, Ben Osborne, former Nottingham Forest player, is going to be on for Sheffield United, and it's clearly going to be for George Baldock, who's just sat down on his backside on the halfway line, and Wes Foderingham has gone down as well, the Sheffield United keeper.
Wow. From suddenly being very happy and content with the 11 players, he might only have 9 fit, because Baldock's on his haunches. I don't think he can continue. But the bigger concern for Sheffield United might be their goalkeeper, the talisman across these two legs, Wes Foderingham. He's down on the deck getting some treatment.
Meanwhile, the Forest fans are whipping themselves into a frenzy, clapping in unison all around us here as the change is made to bring Ben Osborne on for George Baldock. He's only just back fit again, George Baldock. So were Sheffield United to make it to Wembley, that could be a doubt for Paul Heckingbottom as to whether he can get him fit again. Ben Osborne made 230 appearances here at Nottingham Forest and joined Sheffield United back in 2019. And another quick change sees Conor Harahan come on for John Fleck. So two quick changes, just as we were saying. He's keeping the same 11. Suddenly Baldock and Fleck off, Osborne and Harahan on, Adrian Clark.
Yeah, look, let's hope they don't have to make a third one for their sake with Foderingham.
He's back on his feet.
He's limping though, isn't he? Quite pronounced, but
I'm not sure where that injury occurred.
No, it was a very strange one, but they'll want him on for the penalties if we go that way, and it does appear that is the most likely scenario. But Harahan is a very experienced player, got a lot of quality.
Fleck getting a pat on the back from Paul Heckingbottom and his assistant Stuart McCall. Makes his way to the dugout just beneath us. 3.5 minutes of the second half of extra time have gone. It's still 3-3 on aggregate, but we'll have some added time at the end of extra time. Ball's rolled back to Foderingham. Let's see how he deals with this left-footed clearance. Good strong clearance from the Sheffield United keeper. Headed back into the United half by Cook, but the ball drops on halfway. Just gets away from Sheffield United legs, who thought they could pounce upon the loose ball, and instead Scott McKenna onto the chest of Keenan Davis, who brings it down and then barrels his way in field, getting away from Sander Berger. Great strength from Keenan Davis. Flicks it to his right for Ryan Yates, spotting Spence on the overlap. Spence into the box. Keenan Davis trying to back flick it goalwards, but couldn't get the effort on target, and it just goes out of play on this near side for a Sheffield United throw. 3-3 on aggregate. TalkSport EFL Championship playoff semi-finals. Absolutely balmy game of football, this.
It's been fantastic, it really has. And what a powerful, barnstorming centre-forward Keenan Davis is. That's 2 or 3 occasions now. He's just bundled past 3 or 4 black-shirted Blades players. That was excellent centre-forward play from him.
I think the word you'd use is handful.
He is an absolute handful, isn't he? The cross, though, from Jed Spence behind everybody on that occasion.
Well, here's Spence again, just ahead of the centre circle, driving down the Forest right. Norrington Davis trying to go with him. Spence checks his run, rolls it back a couple of yards. Now Joe Lolly darting down the right-hand side of the area. Rolls it back, Spence with a first-time cross, headed out by Robinson. But Forest will pick it up just over the halfway line with Cook. Plays it to his right-hand side for the captain, Joe Worrell. And then Spence wins a throw over on that Brian Clough stand side. Sheffield United win play back. And Gibbs White, he's caught on halfway by Steve Cook. And that's going to be a yellow card as he was stopping Morgan Gibbs White getting away on the halfway line and into the Forest half. That is the archetypal taking one for the team from Steve Cook of Nottingham Forest.
That was, wasn't it? There was absolutely no way Cook was letting Gibbs White travel with the ball there. Clattered into him. It was sensational. A little touch and turn from the Wolves low knee. He's been really, really good tonight, yet again.
I think Daniel Jefferson's just had a call as well from the Sheffield United management team. We'll see what happens with that. Meantime, free kick to Sheffield United, just bang on halfway. Diagonal ball from left to right, trying to pick out Sander Berger at the right-hand corner of the box, but it drifts over his head, and Colback will protect the ball and allow it to go out of play away to our right at the Bridgeford end for a Nottingham Forest throw. 6.5 minutes gone, and Daniel Jefferson is stripped and ready to come on for Sheffield United. Only a teenager, Daniel Jefferson.
He's raw, but he's talented.
Yeah, he's England under-18, but I think he's Canadian of birth. But raw is definitely the word. Now, Brendan Johnson trying to turn the ball down the Forest right, asking Jed Spence to give chase, but Rhys Norrington Davis got there first, but the Forest fans encouraged by the hurried clearance from Norrington Davis. And that gives Forest a throw in pretty much on the halfway line. Seconds ticking away on TalkSport. Penalties looming to decide who meets Huddersfield Town at Wembley, live on TalkSport on Sunday, May the 29th, on the bank holiday weekend. The day before is the League 2 final, and over the next 2 nights on TalkSport 2 you'll find out which of the 4 teams involved in that little contretemps. Mansfield, Northampton, Port Vale and Swindon make that final. That's Saturday afternoon on the 28th of May, again live on the TalkSport network. Liverpool have won tonight at Southampton to keep the title race alive, and we will cover the final day in full on TalkSport this coming Sunday, late afternoon, all games kicking off at the same time. We'll have live matches for you on TalkSport and TalkSport 2 at Matches That Matter. For either top 4 or title or relegation, we will find out, and we will be there every step of the way on the final day across the TalkSport network. You will miss nothing, as everything's decided in the Premier League this weekend. Still to be decided here. Ball worked out to the left-hand side by Harahan. Now comes into Sander Berger, 30 yards out. He's going to go for goal from distance here. Drives it low, and it just skims wide of the left-hand post, and it took a deflection off a Forest boot. Brice Samba was at full stretch to his left-hand side. Corner kick to Sheffield United. They wanted initially to take quickly at the Bridgeford end.
Oh, he was worried, wasn't he? Brice Samba, he could not have struck that much sweeter, Sander Berger. Brice Samba wouldn't have got there. That little nick took it just past the post, but it's Sheffield United with the corner. Nervy moments for Forest.
Harahan's corner, deep to the far post. Headed up in the air inadvertently by a Forest boot. Oh, it dropped. Oh, what a save by Samba! Right on the goal line. Gibbs White, I think, tried to send it goalwards, and what a save by Brice Samba to keep Forest in it.
Huge moment, absolutely colossal. I don't know how much he knew about it, but he just got enough on it there, Brice Samba.
It was Ndiaye, I think, who had the effort. Meantime, Forest coming forward with Joe Lolly down the right-hand side into the area, making room for a shot, and it dribbles wide from Joe Lolly. Chances at both ends within 30 seconds, but it stays 3-3 on aggregate on TalkSport.
Trademark Joe Lolly there, surging down the right wing, drifting inside one challenge, inside another, and it wasn't that far away. Left-footed effort. Oh, what a game this has been. It's tugged, hasn't it, on the emotions all evening. I think Forest have probably been just about the better side in extra time, certainly the second half of extra time, but
yeah, they came out the traps after the restart in extra time, and Brendan Johnson had that volley straight at Wes Fotheringham, who's just taking the goal kick now for Sheffield United, right down the centre of the field, but headed up in the air by Cook. And Worrell elects to head it back to his keeper, who made that brilliant shot. It was Iliman Ndiaye, who was right in front of goal, and just an instinctive star shape from Brice Samba kept it out. And it stays 3-3 on aggregate.
He won't be able to believe he hasn't scored, because he swiveled, 2 yards from goal? 3 tops.
Now Samba collects from the right-hand corner of his own penalty area. Just pushes it out to Scott McKenna, who can bring it forward. 5 minutes of extra time to go. Penalties becoming a real possibility here on TalkSport for the right to meet Huddersfield Town in the showpiece final at Wembley on the bank holiday weekend at the end of May, Sunday afternoon. Live on TalkSport. Good defending from McKenna to stop Ndiaye getting away down the left-hand side of the area.
How fit is Iliman Ndiaye? I mean, he sprinted. What minute are we? I mean, it was 120th. So much energy. He picked himself up off the deck, sprinted to get back into position. Incredible fitness levels from all of the players. But I think the Sheffield United front two have absolutely grafted all evening, putting a real shift, the pair of them.
Samba for Nottingham Forest. That's Adrian Clark, you can hear incidentally alongside me, Ian Danter on commentary here at the City Ground, where Ryan Yates wins the ball back for Nottingham Forest. 2-1 down on the night, but still level with Sheffield United, 3-3 on aggregate. We're heading for penalties. Ryan Yates out to the right-hand side. It's touched further down the right channel, asking Brendan Johnson to give chase, but gets away from him. And Wes Fotheringham just hoofs it downfield, but it'll come back the way of the red shirts of Nottingham Forest. Ryan Yates, their academy graduate, leaves it for Jed Spence on the far side of the field. 3 minutes to go in extra time. Spence trying to go on the outside of Harahan, drives across into the area, but it goes over all the heads that are in there in red shirts, including Keenan Davis, who cuts a frustrated figure. Sheffield United bring it clear. Out to this near side, and Ben Osborne, the former Forest man, lays it off for Sander Berger. What a ball! Right to left to pick out Harahan on the far side of the field. 3 Sheffield United players for a cross. One of them's Gibbs White, and he just couldn't connect at the near post as he slid in corner of the 6-yard box. Just couldn't connect. Harahan's ball was meant for him, but he just couldn't get there. Goal kick Forest, 3-3 on aggregate.
Agonising for Sheffield United. Sensational crossfield ball, wasn't it, from Sander Berger, who's been outstanding from half-time onwards, and then the ball in. We know that Harahan has got an excellent left foot. It's perfect, really, the cross in, and on the stretch, Gibbs White is 2 centimetres away from tapping it in. It was that close.
Cafu is on for James Garner, a late substitution for Nottingham Forest. I don't know whether that's with penalties in mind from Steve Cooper to make that change, but the man formerly of Olympiacos is on. But there's still time for a winner for either side here on TalkSport into the last 2 minutes of extra time, plus whatever Michael Oliver wants to add on for stoppages. Forest have the ball inside the Sheffield United half. Joe Lolly lays it off to Scott McKenna. Early ball in field for Jack Colback. Square ball brings Joe Worrell into the game. Slides it up to the edge of the box looking for Johnson. Intercepted though. And Sheffield United have it back, and it's out on the left-hand side with Harahan. Just skips past a challenge. Options left and right. Lays it off to Norwood. Good ball for Ndiaye. Ndiaye sweeps it out to this right-hand side for Morgan Gibbs-White. Ndiaye's gone into the box for the return. There's the cross. It's headed away by Forest. Spence hooks it further clear. Then it's sent down the Sheffield United right, but straight down Jack Colback's throat. Davis defending his own half of the field, being pressurised by Chris Basham of Sheffield United, and then anywhere will do for Nottingham Forest just to get it downfield. We're in the last minute of extra time. 3-3 on aggregate on TalkSport. It's going to be the spot kick lottery from 12 yards as things stand to decide who goes to Wembley. And Sheffield United are, well, they're not exactly hurrying to take this throw in their right back position, Adrian Clark.
Right, there's an acceptance now that this is going to be decided on penalty kicks, I think. So much riding on this shootout to come for so many players on both sides, for the clubs, the managers. Oh, it's going to be agony for the fans.
We're about to find out how much extra time after extra time we have. Sports Bar's going to have to wait a little longer, I reckon. Money for jam for Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy at this rate. 2 minutes of added time at the end of extra time, and Forest have been awarded a free kick on halfway, and we are now dealing in one last chance, maybe for either side, to take away the need for a penalty shootout. Sheffield United have a free kick bang on halfway. In fact, it's almost right on the centre spot. John Egan preparing to take it. Got options left and right, although nobody really out wide. It's sent up to the edge of the area, headed out by Joe Worrell. Good defending from the Forest number 4. Breaks in the area. Suddenly there's a Sheffield United player in. Player goes down, and what's the referee given?
It's a dive, isn't it?
It's a dive from Jack Robinson.
If it's a dive,
he's off. As he went to ground, well, Michael Oliver's just walking away and saying play on. No retribution for Jack Robinson, who, as Adrian Clark rightly says, is on a yellow card. Threw himself to the ground trying to get to a loose ball inside the area, and he's just allowed to walk away with no punishment.
Wow. Time stood still. It was bizarre. He was kind of in it. It just bounced through inside the box. Breeze Samba comes out, and I think Samba does brilliantly not to make a connection with him. He somehow avoids Jack Robinson, who flings himself to the floor. And the referee is, well, he's had a conscience, so he's let him off the hook.
Back underway on Talk Sport. One last chance maybe for Nottingham Forest, but they can't keep the ball inside the Sheffield United half. Just lobbed long downfield. Desperate defending from Steve Cook. Might break for Harahan, but Ryan Yates is there for Forest. One last chance for the hosts maybe. It's with Joe Worrell. Finds Jed Spence, but as he whacks the ball downfield, Michael Oliver says that's enough. You can't split Nottingham Forest and Sheffield United after 120 minutes of Championship playoff football, and what that means is it's going to mean the lottery of penalty kicks to decide who goes to Wembley, because Nottingham Forest were ahead in the first half through Brennan Johnson with a fantastic finish on 19 minutes, but almost at the start of the second half, Morgan Gibbs-White got Sheffield United level, and then, well, it ended up being John Fleck rolling the ball home to make it 2-1 on the night to Sheffield United, matching the scoreline that Forest got at Bramall Lane. And so, Hugh Rosencroft, penalties are next on TalkSport. And Ollie Norwood's going to have the first penalty of the shootout for Sheffield United, but he's going to have to wait because he's already standing in that penalty area at the Bridgeford end away to our right, ready to take the kick, but the referee Michael Oliver is right in the centre of that half, chatting with the two keepers, Wes Foderingham and Bruce Samba, about what he expects of them. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad, the playing squad on the halfway line in the red of Forest and the black of Sheffield United, and then all the ancillary staff lined up either side of the halfway line, just down beneath us, as the two keepers now break away, having had their chat with Michael Oliver. And all the action moves away to the right-hand end of the ground as we look from the back of this famous old Peter Taylor stand. And it will be Ollie Norwood of Sheffield United, his 4th season as a Blade, initially on loan, former Manchester United youth. He will have the first responsibility from the spot for Sheffield United. Still rain falling heavily here at the City Ground. Samba taking his time to take his position on the goal line for Forest. Norwood steps up, right-footed, save! Bree Samba makes the first important contribution to this penalty shootout, saves the penalty, and Nottingham Forest have an early advantage as Norwood is denied.
He won the battle of the mind games there, didn't he, Bree Samba? He made Ollie Norwood wait an age for that first penalty kick. It was all deliberate. Good save though, diving really quickly to his right, but excellent mentality there from the Forest number one.
Forest's top scorer, Brennan Johnson, is first up for them. Up against West Foderingham, right-footed, sent in the wrong way, and after one penalty apiece, Nottingham Forest are one up on TalkSport.
Never looked like missing, Brennan Johnson, such a key man.
Conor Harahan just on as a substitute for Sheffield United, the former Villa midfielder and Republic of Ireland international. Bags of experience,
but Samba's trying the same trick again here, really taking his time, wandering around the 6-yard box. I think Michael Oliver's onto him. Could get a yellow card here, Samba.
Well, he's now back on his goal line and jumping up and down, waiting for Harahan to take this left-footed penalty for Sheffield United. Saved onto the bar! He barely moved, Samba, but the penalty went straight down the middle, caught his right forearm, hit the crossbar, came out, and that's 2 misses for Sheffield United out of 2.
Limbs everywhere around the City ground. They're starting to believe now. Really cool, wasn't it, from Samba? He decided to stay still. He waited for Hurahan. It was a poor penalty down the middle, and it just got an arm on it, and it hit the crossbar. Brice Samba, it's the star of the show at the moment.
Cafu up next for Nottingham Forest here on TalkSport. 2 penalties for Sheffield United, both missed. Now Nottingham Forest have the chance to take a 2-goal lead. He's only made 1 start in 13 league appearances this season, Cafu, and now he's got the chance to give Nottingham Forest a 2-goal lead in this penalty shootout after 2 kicks apiece. He stands 4 or 5 paces away from the ball. Foderingham waits on his line. Up steps Cafu and pass it in. I think Foderingham have got something on it, but not enough to keep it out. 2 penalties apiece. Forest are 2-0 up, but that was close.
Oh, he's so unlucky, Foderingham. He gets a big hand on this. Cafu, he doesn't seem very happy about his penalty. No celebrations from him, but it does end up in the back of the net. And Forest are in pole position here.
Sander Berger next up to try and get Sheffield United off the mark here in this penalty shootout on TalkSport. Forest holding sway after 2 penalties apiece. It's 2-0 to the Reds. But now Sander Berger with Sheffield United's 3rd penalty. Brice Samba dancing on the goal line. Berger sent in the wrong way, and Sheffield United with their 3rd penalty finally hit the back of the net.
He is a character, isn't he, Brice Samba? He's up to all sorts on that goal line, pointing which way he was going to dive, but Sander Berger, to his credit, very experienced international player, not interested, just sends him the wrong way. That was calm, and they needed that, didn't they, Sheffield United?
Well, talk about experience. Steve Cook's got bags of it. Nearly 400 appearances in around 10 years at Bournemouth before he came to Nottingham Forest, bought by Steve Cooper in the January window. He has Nottingham Forest's 3rd penalty up against Foderingham for a chance to take a really strong advantage. Cook right-footed into the net. They're on the brink. Nottingham Forest. 1 more penalty will do it. But if Sheffield United miss their next one, it's irrelevant. Forest will be at Wembley.
Oh, such relief for Steve Cook. He did a Stuart Pearce there, punch in the air in front of those fans. And now the pressure really is on Sheffield United. And is it Iliman Ndiaye?
It's Ndiaye who had several chances to put Sheffield United further clear on the night. One amazing save from Brice Samba late in the second half, and now here we are in extra time, and Samba standing in front of Iliman Ndiaye once again. Nice. Sheffield United have to score this penalty. If it doesn't go in, Forest are off to Wembley for the first time since 1992. Very carefully Ndiaye places the ball on the spot. A slow, measured walk back. Samba much more on his goal line, a standstill. He's sent the wrong way. Good penalty. But it's Joe Lolly up next for Nottingham Forest. This could be the most crucial kick of all tonight.
Yeah, and he's been a stalwart of the City ground for many seasons now, Joe Lolly. Can he deliver the telling blow, the killer blow for Sheffield United?
On as a substitute tonight, Joe Lolley of Nottingham Forest, who joined 4 years ago from Huddersfield Town. Nottingham Forest are one kick away from the playoff final. West Foderingham standing in Joe Lolley's way. The City ground waits. Lolley steps up, blasted over the bar. Oh my goodness. Joe Lolley, that's still rising. I don't know when that's going to come down. That's the first penalty missed out of 4, but still, Morgan Gibbs-White has got to score here for Sheffield United with their 5th penalty. Live on TalkSport.
Heartache for Joe Lolley. He's in bits. He's feeling absolutely gutted. It was a horrible penalty, but the responsibility now falls to Gibbs-White. Such a talented boy, but can he hold his nerve?
Steve Cooper used to coach him for the England youth setups, and now Cooper knows that if Gibbs-White doesn't get his right here, the Nottingham Forest are off to Wembley. Very straight run-up from Gibbs-White up against Samba for Sheffield United's last penalty. Has to score, Gibbs-White. Very slow run-up, and it's saved! Bree Samba makes the save! Nottingham Forest have done it! They're off to Wembley for a playoff final! The first time they will grace the National Stadium since 1992! And Steve Cooper reaches a playoff final for the 2nd year in a row. Last year it was Swansea City. This year it's with Nottingham Forest, and is their 23-year wait for Premier League football about to end. It's Forest who will play Huddersfield on the 29th of May. They beat Sheffield United 3-2 on penalties after a 3-3 aggregate draw.